Discovery.
Hello and welcome to Cutting Through the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse. This is an emergency broadcast.
There's an emergency.
There is an emergency.
There's an emergency happening. We have changed the bulb. Is this a blue emergency or would you
I
say
think this
red?
is a pretty big red
This is a
emergency.
brown emergency.
Brown alert! This is a brown alert for a brown emergency. What's the emergency, Ben?
We're on the brink of World War III potentially.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. Again, funnily enough.
And the nuclear holocaust.
A potential nuclear holocaust, allegedly. And me and Mike don't really buy how we're getting to this point, do we? So we convinced Gaz to do an emergency broadcast instead of our regular scheduled broadcast, which we'll be furnished with next week, possibly.
Yay. And as I
Probably,
know,
sorry.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
yeah. As I religiously do not watch the news, I have no fucking clue how fucked the world is right now, and the boys are going to tell me.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring him down.
Yay! I'm gonna go home and
So be
cry.
forever known as Lemming Sunday.
Red Dwarf references could
Yeah.
tonight, Mike.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Bring it on.
The dwarf.
Bring it on. So, first we will start with some weird news because it's worth laughing a little bit before we're all consumed by a nuclear
Yay.
fireball. We have tried to convert Mike's flat into a makeshift nuclear bunker. We filled the sinks and the bath with water. Mike's been crapping in a bucket for the last 3 weeks.
I've been doing it for the last 3 years.
Well,
I just like it.
I wish you'd have told me beforehand, because what I brought with me is 12 cans of lager.
Oh, we're gonna need more than that.
I haven't even got a packet of crisps. I didn't bring a phone charger. What am I going to do without a phone? Never mind the fucking streets and the infrastructure that's going to fucking crumble. No phone!
You'll be no one to call. They'll all be burnt to a cinder.
I won't be able to play Transformers Forged to Fight.
No, it's just the three of us for 10 years with my bucket.
We have to start straining our piss so we've got water to drink.
Yeah, once the bath's empty.
Just don't take a shit in the bath.
There's my advice.
Them's the rules. Oh well.
I would never open the door to mutants either.
No, we're not mutant friendly. They all want to eat. They all start off as friendly, but then they want to eat your skin.
Okay.
Always with the skin.
Always with the skin.
What's the first thing you? I know we've been through this in a sort of comedy way, on previous episodes. But let's say you get the news that we've dropped a nuke on Russia or Syria. What would you do? Like, what do you think practically the first thing you would actually do?
Run to the hills.
Yeah.
Iron Maiden.
Run to
Yeah, best idea. Yeah, really. I suppose Welsh coast, somewhere like that. You know.
Not the coast.
The Welsh mountains.
Welsh mountains.
I don't know. I guess I would just be in a state of panic, waiting for the government to tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just,
Well, I can tell you because I did some research
Right.
that our nearest nuclear bunker
Mhm.
is underneath the telephone exchange in Birmingham.
That's good to know.
Yeah, but there's no way on earth we're going to get let in.
I know, exactly. I was just thinking we can huggle up to the walls outside it and crumble to dust.
Yeah, basically.
Because I've been actually racking my brains thinking, where the fuck is the round here that I could potentially take shelter, and I can't really think of anywhere.
But hang on though.
Cheddar Gorge.
Am I
That's still
stupid?
quite a distance.
No, but hang on though. This is the point of my question. I think was so. Let's assume they don't fire back. We just drop one on them. What does that affect? Do we just carry on like as normal? The
Well, I'm
radiation won't
out.
get
Well,
us, will
hopefully, I'm out in the street fucking protesting way before it gets to that point. But
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah,
know.
anyway,
Happy days.
yeah.
if this is your first episode,
Don't kid yourself just yet. We got some weird
Got
news.
some weird news, and we talk about this for a bit, and it's some weird shit we find on the net with a slight apocalyptic theme this week, but still funny.
We hope.
We've got an old friend coming back into weird news.
Hey.
So yeah, let's crack on with that. It usually takes about half an hour, 45 minutes, depends how drunk we get.
Yeah, we have been taking an hour on recent episodes, so I think we should.
But hey, you can always skip it forward.
There you go. Yeah, but
Yeah.
the news is funny.
Yeah, I will go for this one. This is one.
Okay.
Very angry badger forces parts of Scotland's historic Cragnethan Castle to close.
I love the pronunciation.
Eh?
I love the pronunciation.
So
I
this
don't know what it says. It's Scottish.
No, it's good. It was good. I'm praising it.
Oh right.
that was a compliment. It's okay.
All right. Sorry, I'm taking the compliment.
You need to hold
I
it.
genuinely thought I got
You
it.
need to hold it. It's okay. It's okay, man.
If either of you ever tried to hug me before we're drunk, then
I'm sorry, but so this is an angry Scottish badger.
yeah.
What the fuck you doing in my castle?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But first I thought, oh, Monty Python, the Holy Grail with a rabbit. This is a badger, you know. And then I thought, well, what if this angry badger convinces other badgers that he meets to be angry? And before you know, we've got a badger apocalypse on our hands. It's been swarmed. I'd like to see Brian May and Brian Blessing come out and say, look, you're missing to save the badgers then.
Is it a honey badger?
Hey,
If they've been trying to lure it out with cat food and honey.
most
they're hoping
vicious.
it's
Brian May loves a badger, doesn't he?
He does. I'd like to see him try and convince people to save them when they've all started ripping our throats out them.
It's such a strange dynamic, that band Queen. So you've got lead guitarist Brian, who likes clogs and woodwork
And having judge hair.
and judge hair and woodland walks and saving the animals, and then you've got old Freddie, who liked his cocaine and like 100 rent boys in a row. Apparently that's what the song Don't Stop Me Now,
Oh, really?
I'm having such a good time. Apparently he fucked a legendary amount of rent boys in one evening
Wow.
with the help of cocaine. Yeah, and apparently wrote a jaunty little song about it.
It's a good song.
It's a great song.
And then you got John Deacon, who just stood at the back.
Yeah, he looks like a maths teacher.
Didn't say anything at all. Very rarely did an interview, and when he was interviewed, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And just literally stood there, looking like a maths teacher with a bass guitar, looking awkwardly like a maths teacher with a bass. And then you had Roger Taylor, who wrote a song called "I'm in Love with My Car." Although he did sing it, and he was all right.
Fair play.
But he looked a bit like a sort of. He looked like a wannabe sort of 80s sci-fi movie star actor in a way with that blonde hair.
Well, I've just thought of a lovely scenario. So imagine our lovely... He's a bit of a national treasure, Brian May, isn't he?
Yeah.
Our nice, gentle Brian as the country's leading badger expert.
An enthusiast.
Yeah, and badger enthusiast. He's brought out to this...
Because he looks like a badger.
He's brought out to this castle. Come on, Brian, you've got to help us get him
Yeah.
out. And he ends up having to bludgeon it with his own guitar to save his own life. He's just left distraught. He comes back out of the castle, his face caked in blood. I do not want to talk about it. You weren't there, man. It's a garrote badger with a guitar string
Oh,
to
that's
save his own life.
Right,
Bludgeon it with a clog. One of his handmade clogs.
Garroting a badger with your G-string. Our obligatory guitar G-string joke.
I only just got it that it was a guitar joke. I just thought you were saying Brian May wears a thong.
I wasn't where my mind was going with that now.
He wears a thong when he's killing badgers.
Don't stop me now, I'm having such a good time.
Stoving their heads in.
I love that expression. Stoving its head in. Oh man, so what's this?
We don't endorse killing badgers, let's just say that.
Unless they've got TB.
Unless it's
Then
part-
stove its head in.
So it's heading. It's a 16th century Scottish fortress which once thrived amid war, attack and treason, but now parts of Cragnethan Castle have been abandoned because of a somewhat different invader. Quote, a very angry badger. Historic Scotland was forced to shut tunnels which are popular with the public after the staff discovered the unexpected guest. If you're heading to #Cragnethan Castle over the next few days, you might find the cellar tunnel closed due to the presence of a very angry badger, the Heritage Organisation tweeted. We're trying to entice it out with cat food and send it home.
Why don't they just call budget?
Oh, badger and badger.
What? These are mashed potato?
Mashed potato!
That's it,
Now-
they're using the wrong food. It's mashed potato.
Now, can you imagine if you're A, not British, and B, older than us, and you just heard the last 30 seconds. What the fuck? There was a children's cartoon called Bodger and Badger, and
Bodger and Badger.
Bodger and Badger, and everybody knows that Bodger loves.
Oh, those Badger loved mashed potato.
Oh, Badger loves mashed potatoes, yeah.
He used to go Scarface on a pile of mashed potato, didn't he?
He's
Like,
a bit
full on
psycho.
nose in it. Yeah, he was a bit.
Bodger and Badger, I haven't thought about that for years. They don't know they're born today, do
They
they?
don't.
Pepper fucking Pig.
Yeah,
Oh
bullshit.
God, she looks like a penis.
She does.
A
It's a
flaccid
cock
penis.
and balls side on.
She is a flaccid penis. Alright,
Um,
so has this badger actually, has it attacked anyone, or
It
has it
did-
just been a bit like, fuck off?
It did not elaborate on why the badger was angry.
Nobody sat down and had
It's
a
obviously,
conversation.
it's obviously pissed off at the war on Syria.
Not in my name!
Biting kneecaps. So we see if they can. Has it attacked anybody? That's what I want to know. Can we scroll down the article a little bit?
The animal is said to have caused a mess,
Oh,
digging up through loose soil in the stonework, the little bastard.
yeah.
The
Historic
hooligan.
16th century castle. Disgusting.
Hooligan.
I assume it's like must have growled at people and set up they're quite territorial, isn't they, badgers?
He might have chased down a few children or something. But this is
Oh,
such...
man, I want to see a fat kid on Lost in the School trip running for his life from an angry badger.
This is such
There's a
Stop,
film
stop,
right there.
I'm full of chocolate.
This is such a British story. I was just thinking in the States they would call a police officer to shoot it. They wouldn't even call a police officer. The fucking janitor would be carrying a handgun.
Yeah.
And he would just this problem would there'd be no luring it out.
No.
No.
I executed that furry little motherfucker where he stood.
It's either that or you've got like a Bill Murray Caddyshack situation
Oh.
going on.
Excellent. Oh, I love Bill Murray. So it's just an angry badger
Yeah,
stuck inside the castle.
But if he gets back out in the woodland and convinces other badgers to be angry, we've got a problem.
What if he tells them, you won't believe it, they live in fucking castles.
Yeah.
We live in fucking holes in the ground.
Yeah.
They build theirs upwards.
Mm.
Loads of room. Loads of stuff to chew
Yeah.
on.
Yeah,
Wow.
so there we go. Badger revolution, badger apocalypse.
He's upset about the cull. There was a badger cull, wasn't there?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
I only know through one of the areas I drive through for work must have been affected because there's shitloads of posters stop the
I was going
cull.
to say piles of badger
Piles of
corpses.
dead badger.
Burning piles of badger corpses, spewing smoke into the air. That's what they're going with.
Well, I always found it not amusing, but like, I mean, I appreciate the effort to go and put that poster there that literally just said stop the cull. But it's like, well, how? There's no further information. What do I do?
Do I just stand here and try and stop people with shotguns shooting at
Yeah,
stuff?
trying to fight a farmer with a shotgun. They're pretty strong farmers.
That's like rustic strength.
That's what I mean. They might not have much fight training, but they can literally just grab you with
Yeah.
one hand and lift you above their head.
Yeah, they're lifting bales of hay with fucking pitchforks.
Since they were 3.
Yeah, exactly.
There's stove in badgers' heads in every day.
Right, so yeah.
Oh, man.
Move on.
Oh, a little badger fact. Someone once told me. You see a lot of dead badgers.
They're not great. They're not
You-
great adherence to the highway code.
No,
is what
they're
you're telling me.
always right at the side of the road. Never in the middle of the road, squashed. They've always been knocked to the side of the road. And then someone told me, I can't remember who, somebody who lives in the countryside, that as farmers aren't legally allowed to just kill them willy-nilly, are they? They have to have, during the cull or whatever, or do it humanely. Something. Apparently a farmer will just fucking kill a badger and then sling it out of his Land Rover on his way to the shop, so it just looks like it was run over.
Lovely.
So, yeah.
Oh man,
Poor
there's
little badgers.
no badger CSI to determine that whether that was like suicide,
Oh, yeah.
or murder, or a gunshot wound, is there?
And a sad fact is, I know they're nocturnal, so maybe it's not that sad, but I've never seen a living badger. I've seen a lot of dead badgers, because I drive a lot, it's my job. A lot of, probably I would guess, in the hundreds of dead badgers. Never a live one.
That's in
Quite
my
sad,
ones.
isn't it? Oh, when?
Running across the road in front of
Oh.
cars at night.
It was live for about 3 seconds.
I survived. You got across.
Oh, well.
I was on the way home from work. It was
I've
it
never
was
seen
3 in
a
the
live
morning.
badger.
Do you think they're playing chicken?
I think they're just like so hard they couldn't give a shit.
Yeah. Badgers, yeah, pretty impressive. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, that they live in our woodland, really close to us. It's quite a large mammal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you have a pet one?
You get pet skunks.
Yeah, we have a friend in common who used to have a pet skunk, Cubal.
Oh yeah.
Apparently they're good for depression.
What, skunks?
Mm-hmm.
Why? They try and hump your leg like.
They sunk you off. No, I just think that
I don't
they're...
think their mouth's that big.
I I just think it's how friendly they are, and
Aren't all animals? Cause,
yeah, all animals
Yeah.
are, but skunks apparently are the
because
best.
it will sit with you. It's proven stroking a cat releases really nice chemicals in your brain.
Until the cat digs its claws
Yeah,
in
until the
leg.
cat decides it's had enough of it. You're doing it wrong! So, next one.
Would you like to see... You remember our good mate David Mead? The
name
Christian
definitely rings a
The one
bell.
who
Christian
was-
numerologist. Go
One
on.
who was drunk on his own hubris.
Hey! You know the one who predicted the return of Nibiru 3 times last year and got it wrong?
Oh, this
He's
fucking...
predicted another one!
Oh.
It's April 23rd this year!
It's April fucking Fools, is what it is.
This is on Fox News, unsurprisingly.
Oh.
Is the rapture finally here?
I bet love that Fox News.
Oh, yeah. One Christian numerologist says a biblical sign strongly suggests it. David Mead tells the UK's Daily Express newspaper that on April 23rd the Sun and Moon will be in Virgo, as will Jupiter, which represents the Messiah,
Oh, will
apparently.
it now?
Well, I added the apparently. For a certain branch of evangelical Christianity, Revelation 12:1-2
to two, I guess.
I don't know, whatever, describes the beginning of what is known as the rapture and the second coming of Christ. The passage reads, "And lo, a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and crying out in birth pains, and the agony of giving birth." Now, someone tell me what the fuck's that got to do with anything?
I don't know, but I've just thought, if this is the second coming of Christ, it's taking a long time between orgasms, isn't he?
Oh, 2,000 years? Yeah. And according to me, the alignment represents the lion of the tribe of Judah, marking the rapture. Is he just spitting random shit out at this point?
Now, in the book I've been reading, Children of the Matrix by David Icke, he's been using bits of the Bible to convince me about giant alien people back in the old days. So I don't know if this Bible thing can be trusted. I think you can turn it to represent. You can interpret it however you want.
Well,
I believe.
he reckons that the so-called Planet X, also known as Nibiru,
Excuse me.
will appear,
Hey.
will appear above the sky on the April date, causing volcanic eruptions, tsunamis and earthquakes. Of course, NASA has repeatedly said that Planet X is a hoax because everyone on the Earth will be able to fucking see it by now, David, if it's that big.
I'm so bored of this now. This
I know.
fucking...
I just felt it because it's me this
Yeah.
time. Again, we've had him 3 times last year and my apocalypse card's getting pretty full. I think I'm due that free coffee now.
If I remember rightly, wasn't this one of the conspiracies where I was like, I
You
was
thought
like, yeah,
that-
this could be, this, give it a chance, this might happen.
NASA,
Yeah.
you think that
We-
you said that NASA think that NASA. You saw. Well, we did watch that clip.
I think
from
we all
NASA.
accepted that there could be a planet out there,
Yeah.
but we said it can't hit the planet Earth in a matter of days.
Yeah, we'd see it coming because it's meant to be fucking huge.
There are rogue planets out there.
Yeah. I don't.
It is possible that one could enter our solar system, but we'd see it before.
Well,
By the time it got, if it was as big as Jupiter, we'd see it when it got to where Jupiter is.
Well, we'd see it by the time we fucking Pluto. Let's face it. You'd notice something coming that distance, wouldn't you? It's that big.
And this is another problem with the...
Yeah, I meant with the naked eye.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
You can't
I
see
think
Pluto with the
telescope-
naked eye.
No,
yeah.
telescopes. But
It's like another problem with the David Icke book, and with this Nibiru and the Nephilim, and actually the Nephilim are mentioned in the Bible, but this Nibiru stuff comes from one man's interpretation of ancient tablets. Zachariah Stitchin, I believe he's the only guy really saying this, or who started all of this. So he reads these tablets that are written in an ancient fucking language, right? I don't understand how that works. How like he's maybe uses modern equivalents or whatever to try and, but he is interpreting
yeah.
those fucking tablets, interpreting them. Fucking old Ike baby, sorry, Saint Ike.
Saint Ike, baby.
Takes that as fucking gospel then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it fucking was in the tablets.
If you hear him, a lot of it is hearsay. He always says, "I know a bloke who told me."
Yeah. A bloke I met down the pub, he literally says things like that. So yeah, man.
Hang on, bloke claiming to be the only guy who can translate the ancient tablets and then trying to make some money out of it. Isn't that Mormonism?
Well, fuck it, don't get me started on that. That guy, I don't know his name,
Joseph Smith.
and this is not conspiracy theory, this is not tinfoil hat territory. Any Mormon out there can get on their Google machine and find this out as fact. That man, before he started the church, was charged in a court of fucking law in the States. It's documented that he is a fucking charlatan, a liar, and a fucking... What's another word for charlatan?
Snake oil merchant.
Snake oil fucking merchant. He's got proven history for it. I mean, I don't... how can you then believe... Oh, he set up a religion then, did he? Oh, he found a golden magical tablet.
That only he could translate.
Take my money!
And then he basically... Because he just wanted to fuck about, didn't he? That's a, he was a... No, he just wanted bigamy. Yeah, but even so we're not down with the 23rd of April. We're not missing.
I might be down with all that Nibiru stuff. I mean, maybe Zachariah Stitchin did a fantastic job of interpreting them. I don't know, and they do mention giants in the Bible, but I don't know. We'll see. See what happens on April the 20th.
I'll guarantee it'll be jack shit.
Well, I don't know. What if the nukes land on April the 23rd?
Well, maybe, but that's nothing to do with Meade and his rapture prophecy.
Yeah, but you know he'll be there cowered down, but while he's still got internet and like breathable oxygen. I told you.
We'll still call him a cunt.
Maybe the Niburans. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But maybe,
Anunnaki.
Oh yeah, there it goes. Maybe they have nuclear technology and the nukes come down from the skies. Bah. So
maybe, who knows?
He's probably full of shit.
He's full of shit.
Yeah.
Can we put a pin in that for a second, please?
There you go.
Thank you. And we're back. It is so we'll carry on with the weird news, and we'll possibly do some more at the end if we've got time. So, man who pooed on police station counter caught in Northern Ireland wearing a stolen hat.
What the fuck?
It's a headline, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jesus, there's so much to unpack.
A young man broke into a police station, defecated on the counter, then stole a number of items, including officers' hats, vests, and radios.
The balls on this fella.
Just a bit.
Michael Brennan was caught on CCTV spending more than 25 minutes rummaging around Lifford Garda station in County Donegal. Brennan broke into the side round the building just before 5 a.m. on September 5th, 2015.
Breaking into a police station.
I don't know. What about this?
I mean, you got to know it's got to be one of the most CCTV, the most armoured places probably in his city. Oh, I'll break in through the fucking side window, no problem.
There has to be drugs involved.
Well, he stole it. He was seeing out the toilet on the counter.
Just cut short.
Maybe he was looking for the toilet.
That's my best. Sorry, Ben. He was seen going to the toilet on the counter of the station before leaving the building while still wearing a Garda hat. So he's wearing the policeman's hat and shitting on their counter.
You got to love the boss on the car.
Can we raise a beer to this young man? Swig a beer for this
Michael Brennan.
Swig a tea for Mike.
21 at the time. This
What
is
a
actually
guy.
from 2015. I don't know what popped up in
I mean, I hope he's not a desperate smackhead who was looking for money for a fix, but like, fucking, what a hero. That bastard. Oh man, so what happened then, Ben?
Scroll down for us, Mike, please, and see what happened to Mr. Michael Brennan.
He pleaded guilty,
Oh man.
causing criminal damage.
I saw something there that they took a swab of his feces in an attempt to track down Brennan. I suppose it's quite a lot of DNA in your shit.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So he before gathered. He had a shat on the desk,
Right.
and then gathered a number of official Garda items, including 2 Garda caps, a pocket diary, handcuffs, a car key, a Garda vest, a torch, and 2 Garda radios. And he was just strolling down the street wearing one of the hats.
Wow. Brennan of how do you say that? Of Colnborough.
Yeah.
It's got a silent W in it.
Yeah.
Connie Burrow. Lifford was eventually apprehended by the PSNI.
Pretty serious in Northern Ireland, I'm guessing.
In Starbane and was still wearing some of the stolen items.
So he must have gone from the north to the south to the north then, I think.
Some of his family helped to recover the other items, apart from the Garda torch. I sold that for crack money.
Yeah, yeah.
Brennan's solicitor, Mr. Donagh Cleary, said it was a fair cop. In every sense of the word.
Hang on, here's the tragic part of this. He said his client had suffered from drink and drug addiction in the past.
It was going to be, wasn't it?
I had a
It
sneaking
was always
suspicion,
going to be.
yeah.
Unfortunately, sadly.
But he was
Probably mental illness, maybe.
he was told by the Garda Inspector Goretti Sheridan. That's a strange Irish name. Unless it is Goretti is Gaelic in some way. It sounds Italian to me.
Yeah, it does a bit.
Yeah. That the cost to clean up a cell if damaged is €225, and this would be the same cost. He's got not only he's going to jail for a bit, he's got to pay €225.
Poor lad. Well, still, I'll raise a beer to him for okay.
Just the sheer massive
Audacity.
testicles he's got.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you have not? Let's say, okay, success. I'm in. I'm through the window. Fucking hell, I'm in the police station. Would your mission not be to get back out as quickly as fucking possible? Not spend 25 minutes swanning about and think, actually, I feel a little bit...
Ooh.
Do you know, I could probably have a poo.
Yeah.
Where's the loose? Nah, I'll just do it on the desk.
Yeah.
That'll be funny, won't it?
Yeah.
Well, bless him. And, you know, hard drug users, you know, I'm not an expert, but they sometimes find it quite difficult to pass a poo.
So we both should be thankful for his, you know, the fact he could go.
Yeah. He'll be alright. I hope he gets the help he needs.
That's it, innit?
Yeah, this was from
Probably not.
2015. I don't know why it popped up on my news feed, but either way, it's some weird
A
news.
story like this is timeless, Ben.
I think it is. I think it is. So should we come back to this a little bit at the end?
Yeah,
to lighten the mood.
We'll finish on a funny note, because
Yeah.
we're going to get into some pretty heavy stuff, aren't we? I think.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely conspiracy to it. I mean, I'm not convinced that what we're being told is absolutely right, and we've got some clips to prove that later on when the former head of the British Army in Iraq is cut off by Sky News for telling the same. I posted it on the page actually.
I watched that one.
So this really all kicks off with a chemical attack in Salisbury in the UK, where Russian defector Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia are attacked with a nerve agent, and this is called Novichok apparently. Would you like to hear some symptoms of Novichok? What will happen to you?
Oh, okay.
Right. Your eyes will grow narrow, you lose vision, and what comes next is vomiting, breathing problems, and incessant convulsions until you're paralysed, your muscles will give out. And it can be lethal. Sergei and his daughter collapsed near a bench in Salisbury, England. Her eyes apparently were just completely wide open but white. She was frothing at the mouth, and the man went stiff. His arm stopped moving, but he's still looking dead ahead. So it's a pretty nasty thing. Now, nerve agents, I've got to do a little bit of background here. It is a horrible fucking thing. You know, the fact we can create this shit, this intention is terrible. Nerve agents are organophosphates. They contain phosphoric acid, basically. And they are all colourless liquids, and functionally they disable enzymes which act as an on-off switch in the body.
Right.
All normal bodily functions go into overdrive: sweating, vomiting, involuntary defecation, frothing at the mouth, convulsions, and eventually the muscles give out, leading to paralysis and suffocation.
That's not a nice way to go. Is it?
No. Antidotes are available, but have to be delivered in time, and a high enough dose of nerve agents will kill you in minutes.
So the fact that, because again, just to reiterate to the listener, I'm not a moron. I genuinely avoid the news like the plague. All I see is what pops up on Facebook. Somebody survived this attack.
They both survived.
They both survived
The
the
daughter
attack.
has now been released from hospital.
So was that a case of them not using enough, or they just weren't that exposed to it, or they got the help they needed quick enough? Do you think?
Possibly a combination of all three of them. Yeah.
Because the intention, I guess, was to kill the fucker.
Yes. I mean, he's a defector. He was a spy. He was working as a double agent. Eventually, they let him settle over here.
No,
I have a problem with that though. You know, if you release a spy,
right.
why would you then, 3 years later, try and poison him in a foreign country when you've had him under your control all along?
Well, they wouldn't have known he was a double agent, probably.
Well, they must have done. He was in prison in Russia.
Oh, yeah. So okay.
So
a double agent is.
We
again,
gave him amnesty, or he's working for us.
So a double agent.
he's a Russian
He's
working
a Russian
in Russia.
sent here by them to spy on us, but he ends up spying for us.
I
on
guess.
Them. Is that
Against
a double
them,
agent?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Right. It's a bit of a slippery cunt, really. I mean, I'm sorry you got nerve agented, but I mean, if you're going to play them games, that's like trying to have two girlfriends, and like that's definitely going to blow up in your face.
Yeah.
Like it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but now
But the whole thing is, did the Russians do it?
Or did we do
Or
it?
did we do it?
On March the 6th, Boris Johnson, in an interview, blames Russia and calls Russia a malign influence. And he basically turns around at this point and says Port and Down, who are chemical weapons special facility, top scientists in the country working on that stuff. But
We were just up the road from where
this happened.
Yeah.
He says that they said it's Russian, it's Novichok.
No doubt.
No doubt at all. Now we're not.
So he's accusing a foreign power of poisoning
a terrorist attack.
British citizen, I assume this.
There was a
this
policeman
Russian is now.
poisoned as well.
This is a bit I don't know about as well, because how did this... So the policeman turns up at the house?
He
or
must have
what?
turned up at the scene and received a dose.
Right. Now, this is my next question. So if this guy has survived, does he still have his mental faculties?
Well, he's in a worse condition than his daughter. She must have got a lesser dose. She's been released, and the Russian embassy, the Russians have offered her some kind of help in terms of speaking to someone at the embassy, and she's flat out turned them down.
Now,
Didn't a cat and a rabbit die? I heard.
Oh, I don't know about
At the
that.
house, yeah.
Yeah.
would they be able to
The
then...
rabbit was dead and the cat had to be put down.
Oh, no.
So if they haven't died, they might be able to think back and look through the day and... Because how are you poisoned? Is it like, you know... sorry, I'm stuttering. Umbrella,
Oh, they deliver it, you mean?
poke... Yeah, how
It's a liquid. I mean, they reckon they put it on the doorknob.
Okay, so they might not have any clue who...
It was at the house, apparently.
So they get home, you open the door, and that's
Yeah.
it, you're
It's
poisoned.
on your hands. It's
Touch
in
the
your
cat,
skin.
touch the rabbit.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
They died.
Okay. So they wouldn't, it's not so, because I was thinking, well, they've survived, maybe they can give us some fucking information, right, you know, was it a guy who sounded like he was called, you know, Boris, or a guy called Dave?
Yeah.
You know.
Now, on March the 13th, Valery Gerasimov, apologies for my pronunciations, the Russian Chief of General Staff indicates that Russia has intelligence that fake chemical attacks are being planned against civilians in Syria as a pretext for US bombing. He states Russia will respond militarily.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think
Right.
I've got that article.
Yes, it is. I took it from there. Yeah. But interestingly, March the 7th and March the 19th, respectively, Prince Mohammed bin Salim of Saudi Arabia visits London on the 7th,
Hello.
visits Washington on the 19th, and then on April the 8th visits Paris.
Right.
Now, these are allegedly official visits,
Okay.
but at the same time he does say that Saudi Arabia will back any strikes made against Syria.
Well, there was a WikiLeaks cable
Okay?
from the Saudi guy. What's his name?
Prince Mohammed bin Salim.
Apparently,
Salam.
yeah,
Sorry.
telling the US to overthrow the Syrian regime but play nice with Russia.
I should have probably asked you guys to start this off with some basic geography. Syria. Where the fuck is Syria?
Is that like Alice? Who the fuck is Alice? 24 years I've been living nearby to Syria. Syria? Where the fuck is Syria?
I tell you what, I'll be the fact checker and I'll educate myself and I'll just put up a little world map so I know where,
It's in the Middle East.
where we're talking about.
It's got Iraq next to it,
Iran.
Right.
Israel, Jordan possibly.
Lebanon, maybe.
Lebanon. It's kind of in the middle, really. It's a cornucopia of a Middle East state.
Okay, I'm with you now. Not far from Turkey.
No.
Bordering with Turkey, in fact. But yeah, I really don't know much about the geography of the world.
No.
And Russia's just up there. So you've got Saudi Arabia, because I was thinking, where does Saudi Arabia play? Because where are they located?
Well, Saudi Arabia,
They
they want to be kingmakers in the Middle East, don't they?
Right.
In a way, they've got the Americans well on board with a lot of investments and influence. The Bush family are massive friends with the Saudi royal family, and the Saudis have got something like, isn't it like 8 trillion in the US economy? Possibly more than that. It represents a good chunk.
It does,
anyway.
yeah.
And it's worth so April the 8th, after Prince Mohammed bin Salam's visit to Paris, a Saudi-funded jihadi group, Jaish al-Islam, Tahrir al-Sham, and the UK-funded jihadist, quote, rescue group, the White Helmets, claim a chemical attack occurred in their enclave of Douma the previous day, just before its handover to the Syrian army, and they lay their blame at the Syrian government.
Right.
April the 11th, Saudi Arabia pledges support for attacks on Syria. And then finally, April 14th, which was Friday as we were recording this, US, UK and French missiles and jets attack 3 chemical weapons plants in Syria. Allegedly 3 chemical weapons plants in Syria. The Douma attack did allegedly, and I want to say allegedly a lot when I refer to this attack, killed 60 and injured 1,000. Trump issues at this point a lot of contradictory and inflammatory tweets.
No.
So hang on, the 60,000, that was in the Syrian attack on their own people.
60 only killed 60 and injured 1,000.
Right.
But the problem is, these tweets, nothing happens for 2 days. Nothing happens. Now, basic thing in attacking someone is the element of surprise. Would you agree?
I guess.
You're at WrestleMania,
Hey.
right? Let's put it.
Good old run-in.
You got the heel against the popular champ.
Well,
Right, goes to shake his hand before the match, kicks him in the nuts.
Yeah.
Element of surprise.
another classic, your manager mate on the outside distracts the referee
Yeah.
while you take the brass knuckles from your tights.
Yeah.
Bang. Thanks,
Exactly.
Ben, for
Yeah.
putting it in professional
Yeah.
wrestling terms. Thank
If
you.
I could explain
I
something you
appreciate
use in
that.
professional wrestling, I will.
I appreciate that.
We'll get you through this, Gaz.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to also explain to me where the fuck does Russia even come into it?
Well, they're allied with Syria.
Yeah. The
Right,
Rush,
okay.
You've got in Syria. You've got this whole melting pot.
Right.
You've got ISIS and various other jihadi splinter groups who would be classed as terrorists by the West. You've got Assad and the Syrian government,
Okay.
and then you've got other groups who are opposed to ISIS but also also fighting the Syrian government.
Right.
It's really
And I imagine to...
massively complicated. Some of these groups could be 12 blokes in a truck.
Right.
Some of them could be hundreds of men,
And
well
what's-
armed and well equipped with
What's
Western weapons.
Russia's interest in that weird melting pot of chaos?
Well, Assad is a Russian ally. President Assad is a Russian ally,
Okay.
and also the Russians are sensing an opportunity. They want to get an oar in the Middle East, but they want to be on the winning side rather than being
Well-
seen as invaders. They're coming to
Right.
help.
At the moment,
Okay.
Russia controls about 70% of the gas in Europe.
That is also
Right.
true, and there are
And oil.
pipelines to be made.
Okay.
Is
Right. Good. I'm up to speed.
So Russia have actually done more than the West in combating ISIS.
Right.
Because they've put troops on the ground, they've got bases in Syria in support of Assad.
Right.
They've got military personnel there, literally physically fighting ISIS. We've just been bombing groups we support enemies for a while.
'Cause I was gonna
The
ask-
moderate rebels.
and moderate rebels.
Because since
In
looking at that map
quotations.
2 seconds ago, I realise now Syria borders Iraq, and I know we've been at war in Iraq for a long time. We've done that
Yes,
stuff
well,
there.
the
Would
war-
there be a lot of people escaping from Iraq to Syria? Would there be a lot of pissed off militant type people who are maybe displaced from Iraq and are over there
Afghanistan
in
as well,
Syria,
remember?
right? And so they're over there, fucking pissed off.
Yeah, they've all banded together. That's
Yeah.
our ISIS, and then it's various
Right.
splinter groups. The West created ISIS with the invasion of Iraq and Afghanistan. They tried to set up a home in Syria. But Assad has won his war
Against ISIS.
against ISIS.
Right.
They are literally hemmed in
Yeah.
to a small area now, and it's a matter of time. He's won the war. So, you remind me where it says, you ever heard of Sun Tzu? The Art of War?
Yes,
Right?
I have.
Right, in that book, I'm pretty sure it says nowhere, when you've won your war, gas a load of your own civilians. So
Yeah.
that other powers will come in and try and destroy you. Does it say? Do you think it would say that in there?
No. So, but why? Okay, I'm just trying to understand the story. So let's say, what are the reasons that he would do that?
He hasn't got a reason to.
There's none at all. They weren't being a bit uppity.
No, the region was due to be handed over to the Syrian army. It's been liberated. He's got no reason to do this. He just hasn't. He's won his war.
Yeah.
His country is going to be restored to him with the aid of his Russian mates. And then he's probably going to give Russia exclusive oil rights and gas rights.
And the US said that they're pulling out.
The US had said they're pulling out as well. The general in charge of CENTCOM, will see him in a clip later on. He said the war's won and we're pulling out. We've got no reason to do it. No reason. But the point is, these tweets are Trump's inflammatory. We're going to attack Russia. We've got new smart missiles coming. It's written like a fucking child. You can go on Twitter and see him. Problem is, he gives them 2 days. So remember the element of surprise earlier.
Okay.
He gives them 2 days to move anything of value they've got
Right.
to Russian-held bases, which Trump has not, no Western powers at the balls to strike.
Right.
A Russian-held base, held by Russian military personnel, protected by Russian missiles. It's not going to happen. Right? That's
Right.
World War III going off right there.
Right.
So they hit their Syrian targets, which are probably empty at this point.
Because I did hear something, or saw on Facebook, where Putin had said, a bit like the Terminator in that scene after the Gatling gun, human casualties 0.0. He's saying no one died, isn't he?
Yeah. The US fired...
Do you think that's true?
Well, the US fired 103 missiles
The other night?
the other night. We launched bombing raids, and so did the French with conventional aircraft. Russia claims it intercepted 70 of those missiles, apparently using Soviet-era technology, which is a good 20 or 30 years behind what they've got now.
How much of that do we know is true, though? They're
Well,
bound to say.
Yeah. Minimal damage was done by those that actually did hit their target.
They were French missiles, though, weren't they?
No, they were Tomahawk cruise missiles costing just over £1 million a pop. So
fuck.
there's 103 million down the Swanee.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wasted.
Completely wasted.
not
Although allegedly,
if you're the guy who sold the fucking missiles, you're laughing all the
there
way
you
to the
go. Here we go. That's where we come in.
production. Production,
Military
has
industrial complex.
Production has just increased, I would think, to fulfil the demand to replace.
Well, look at this. As the bombs fall on Syria, one company's share price reaches a record high.
Oh, it's so disgusting.
Raytheon's share price hit at least a 20-year record high on 13th of April as the conflict intensified.
From what
Raytheon
you've
is
told me-
one of the world's largest arms companies. It's the one that manufactured the bombs Trump used to attack Syria in 2017.
From what you've told me so far, I've seen a picture develop of gas lines,
Oil lines.
resources, all the normal
Yep.
reasons that we're in the Middle East in the first place. Once again, I don't know, you can say now, can't you, look, take your tinfoil hat off,
Yep.
and you can honestly say that we know as regular citizens, the reasons we are told that we go to the Middle East are bullshit.
Yeah.
They're
We've
to
been there 3 times. It's like
We
already.
know we are there for resources that make money. The petrodollar thing,
The oil.
the oil, and the minerals as well for all the
Afghanistan, very mineral
smartphones and
rich.
stuff.
Yep.
And look who's behind it.
Oh, let's have a look.
Israel grants oil rights in Syria to Murdoch and Rothschild.
Rothschild, diddle-diddle-diddle-diddle, Rothschild.
And Dick Cheney is also on the board of that cold
Yeah.
reptilian bastard. I'm not even saying allegedly.
You know, the more I get through this book, I'm more convinced I am that the reptile agenda is real. Oh, cheers. So, what's this one saying?
Israel has granted oil exploration rights inside Syria in the occupied Golan Heights, which they took in one of their wars, I forget which one, the 6-Day War I think they fought, to Genie Energy. Major shareholders of Genie Energy, which also has interests in shale gas in the US and shale oil in Israel, include Rupert Murdoch and Lord Jacob Rothschild.
Fucking... I know I'm going to sound like a fucking simpleton now, but like... Why can't... So you're Syria, you've got all these gas lines, you've got all this stuff. Why can't you be in charge of it?
Because you're
'Cause
fighting
then-
the war and you need the money coming in.
We won't let them.
No. But interesting,
Fucking theirs
the
now,
Russians,
isn't it?
the Russians are also want to build a pipeline
Mm.
to Russia, and to export to the
To us.
to us, of course, into the Mediterranean. That's their reason for being there. They want a cut of Syria's
And they want to block
resources.
that line.
And they want to block the American line.
No competition then.
Because he's not going. Assad's not going to turn around and go, "Oh yeah, of course you can build a pipeline, my American friends. You just spent the last 6 months bombing the shit out of my government forces, actually hindering my fight against ISIS, who you claim are the bad guys."
Because this is where I was utterly confused, is because I know we were doing stuff in Syria, and then when sort of everyone was mentioning, oh, World War III is going to happen. and
Well, I've got a
that's
good
big.
video on that if you want to play it.
Yeah, because I was confused, because I thought, well, we're already bombing them, what's the big, why is everyone freaking out this time? But I'm starting to understand a little bit more now.
Yeah, this is from the Aggressive Progressives.
Okay.
Okay, let's hear it then.
F. Kennedy Jr. wrote a great article in Echo Watch, and he laid out what exactly is happening in Syria. What's exactly happening in Syria is a bit of a mind blower because, of course, what's happening in Syria. Now remember, the United States wants to overthrow Assad, and we're enemies of the people who are trying to overthrow him. So we're against everybody in Syria. We're against ISIS, who's fighting Assad, and we're against Assad. Isn't that weird? And why do you think it is? Why do you think we even give a shit about Syria? Why do you think it is? Could it have something to do with fossil fuels? So here's the headline, and I started reading it. It says, while the compliant American press parrots the narrative that our military support for the Syrian insurgency is purely humanitarian, many Syrians see the present crisis as just another proxy war over pipelines and geopolitics. So people think this war really began in 2000 when Qatar proposed to construct a $10 billion, 15-kilometer pipeline through Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, and Turkey. That's when this started. If we go back a couple of decades, the Bruce Lovett report, this is from the 50s. This report was from the 50s. The Bruce Lovett report pointed out that such interventions were antithetical to American values and had compromised America's international leadership and moral authority without the knowledge of the American people. So come to me, what the Bruce Lovett report was about was it was trying to figure out what's all the anti-American sentiment about in the Middle East. So they investigated it, and they figured out, because all the leaders in America were saying, oh, it's because they're religious nuts. No, it turned out it was because the CIA overthrew their governments. We overthrew the Iranian democratically elected government. We were trying to overthrow the Syrian government. That's what that's talking about. That's when it says that such interventions were antithetical to American values and had compromised America's international leadership and moral authority without the knowledge of... This is going back to the 50s. This was a government report, the Bruce Lovett report. And that's what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is talking about. So the report blamed the CIA for the rampant anti-Americanism that was then mysteriously taking root in many countries in the world today. So just so you know, everybody in the Arab world knows what America's been doing, that we've been toppling governments and installing puppets. We're the ones who don't know this. Americans don't even know that Iran had a democratically elected a government in the 50s, Mossadegh. It was the first, and he wanted to export democracy around the entire Arab world, but America didn't want that. What did we promote? We promoted the Saudis and their extremism. Why? And because they were friendly to us. I mean, we saw Arab nationalism as a threat. That's why. Go ahead.
Yeah, so we kind of deal with the Saudis to get oil cheaply. And they also promised to keep oil production at a certain level to maintain stable oil prices.
And they also promised to monetize their oil on the dollar.
That's right. That's right. That was a huge important part of the equation.
And we promised back to them that we would protect them with our military.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
that was in the 70s that happened.
Saudi Arabia is Sunni and Iran is Shia. So they're mortal enemies. Therefore, we went into bed with the Sunnis. Now, the 9/11 hijackers, Sunnis. ISIS, Sunnis. And
Al-Qaeda.
Yeah, Al-Qaeda, Sunni. So we demonize the hell out of Iran. Everything they do is evil and wrong. We can't kind of deal with them. We must have an embargo, everything. They are the worst of the worst. When in fact, I would argue that Saudi Arabia is much worse for America.
Much worse.
Much worse, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying the Iranians are angels. They have a brutal theocracy that's very, very oppressive and repressive. But Saudi Arabia is easily arguably, worse.
And they're committing...
and we never talk about it.
Never.
We kiss their ass. Our presidents literally bow over and kiss their hands. It's unbelievable.
So there's two pipelines. There's a pipeline from Iran. So there's this big natural gas field, right? In between Iran and Qatar and Saudi Arabia. And so Saudi Arabia and Qatar, Sunni, they have their own pipeline that they want to go through Syria to bring natural gas to Europe. Iran, Shia, they have their own gas pipeline that they want to send through Syria to bring. Now, Russia really doesn't want any of these pipelines. It says, of course, the Russians, who sell 70% of their gas exports to Europe, viewed the Qatar-Turkey pipeline as an existential threat. 70% of their gas exports to Europe, right? So, in Putin's view, the Qatar pipeline is a NATO plot to change the status quo, deprive Russia of its only foothold in the Middle East, strangle the Russian economy, and end Russian leverage in the European energy market. So that's what this comes to be. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. Russia giving fossil fuels to Europe, protecting their economic base, and them seeing us wanting to have the Qatar-Saudi pipeline as an existential threat to their economy. That's what this is. It's all, of course, it's about a pipeline.
Of course it is. Of course it is. Why would America give a fuck about Syria itself, right? It doesn't. It only cares about Syria to the extent that Syria is a conduit for the pipeline.
Right,
Can I explain it a bit better?
That does, yes.
I didn't do that bad.
No, you did
No,
very
I was
well. I was
already-
just.
Basically, I needed to know geographically where Syria was, and as soon as I looked at that map, everything sort of fell into place. Because I'm not a moron, I just don't follow the fucking news. But so from what you've told me so far, and that little video, yeah, they're fighting over fucking gas.
Yeah.
And that's
Follow
the
the
bit-
money.
And the
What
bit
do
I
you-
needed explaining to me as well, what I was confused about, and this is just completely fucked. This is why I was confused. I knew we was already doing stuff in Syria. I'd heard that for a while. So then when everyone started saying, oh, you know, the last couple of days, you know, it's kicked off. I was like, but we're already kicking off. Now I get it that, so America is fighting with both fucking sides
Yeah.
of the war in one country.
Yeah.
How in anyone's...
You
What
want to sell more
sense can
weapons,
they-
you fund both sides.
Yeah, the Rothschilds did. They
But,
put on a
but you
war
don't
about
fight
that.
both sides.
No, but they want chaos so that Assad goes, so they can install their own puppet government like
Yeah.
Iraq and Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and they can do the will of the Americans.
And one thing I did know, it's a really sad thing actually, I hope I get the right country, because I am stupid, Iran, where he was talking, we toppled the democratically elected government. I've seen this
Twice.
amazing photo gallery of pictures from, what country,
Oh,
sorry?
it's Iran. I've seen the same one. The 50s.
In the
Iran.
50s, women were liberated.
They were in bikinis on the beach.
It was fun times. It was like the 50s in America. Nice cars, you know, bit of rock and roll. Well, it might not be rock and roll, but you
Yeah,
know,
They're a
yeah.
secular country.
They had the money to
and now they're the
enjoy
most
it.
secular. Well,
Now
one
they're,
of.
now they're the most. They're not now, are they?
No, they were.
They were before.
When they had the Ayatollah Khomeini in the 80s,
Ooh.
there was Death to America, America's a great Satan, etc., etc.
And
Film
back
Navy
to-
SEAls.
Back to professional wrestling. They've actually made some history, the WWE, because they went because the women are now as popular as the men in professional wrestling, and they went to Saudi Arabia, and women weren't allowed to perform before, and they actually let them have a women's wrestling match. However,
They couldn't wear the bikinis,
they
could
were
they?
covered from neck to. They were basically wearing full body suits. Seriously, there's no tinfoil hats required here.
No,
there's
no.
no fucking like.
It's simple, a resource power grab.
So
Follow
why
the
do they
money.
bother with the bullshit? Who are they bullshit? Are we? Is it people like? Sorry, mum. My mum. Just someone
Of
who needs to
course.
know. Well, why
Yeah.
are we bombing him? Oh, he did a chemical on his own
Yeah.
people.
We'll get
Well,
into that next.
well, yes, we'll do that
Should we
next.
take a break?
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. We're back, and we'll go into the Russian response. So the bombs have hit, or allegedly hit. We don't know. Some of them hit, maybe. The Russian response: Konstantin Kozachoyov, who is the Federal Council's head of international relations, got two quotes from him. He described the coalition attacks as a flagrant violation of international law and has promised consequences. He then goes on to say, Russia's reaction should be guided by the professional evaluation of military specialists.
Oof, not good then.
So that's their head of international relations saying that.
And we've expelled all our diplomats now.
And we expelled their diplomats in the wake of the Novichok attack. And so there's a lot of European countries in support of us.
So who did do the Novichok then?
Well, we'll get to that.
Can't they all just sit down and say, there is X amount of gas to be taken, X amount of money to be made, You have this. We'll take this.
Well, that's why we need a resource-based economy.
Oh.
We don't need this capitalism that just eats itself alive. I mean, you can't have infinite growth on a finite planet. Think about it.
Hey, that's a lovely
Yeah.
quote. Well, not lovely, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
That's a terrifying quote.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
That is capitalism.
Yeah.
That is capitalism. It will
That's
just
so
consume
true.
more and more resources. It grows and grows
Yeah.
and grows.
And tinfoil hats on, maybe. But the really tragic part of that statement is the fact that we can have renewable, clean
Yeah.
Yeah.
things that don't make money
That's
but don't
it.
fucking destroy.
We could put solar panels all in the Sahara Desert, Gaz. Enough to power the world.
Why have I never thought of that?
Yeah.
That's so fucking obvious. It's
Nothing
a
lives
desert.
there, yeah.
It's alive.
And it's a lot of sun.
Fuck.
No one, and hey, you know, you could have a couple on the roof of your house as well, which might power your stuff in the
Well,
day.
if every government said, right, we'll put in 100 million or whatever, how much it's going to cost,
Yeah.
proportionate to how much the country,
needs.
well, how much they've got, I was going to say. So like USA are going to put in more money than Djibouti.
Yeah.
I mean, they ain't got the...
Djibouti, the mighty nation of Djibouti.
But if every nation does that,
Yeah.
yeah, and say, look, that's it, free energy for everybody now. We'll
Because-
never have to pay another gas bill or electricity bill
Yeah.
again.
Well, someone's got to pay for the infrastructure for the panels, haven't they? But that's like a one-time.
Big
That's
That's it.
entertainment.
That's
You
why
know.
every country contributes.
There you go. Because I have noticed, as part of work, just to tell the listener, I'm a delivery driver. I don't just drive around randomly for no apparent reason.
Kidnapping prostitutes.
Yeah, murdering prostitutes.
I said
you know.
kidnapping.
Cutting off, cutting off their genitals in the trans van.
Well, you know, it gets
Welcome
lonely
to
out
the
there.
trans van.
Where I drive around in a dress. But I have noticed solar fields popping up in the countryside of our great country, and I think that's farmers realising, hang on, I'll make more off that.
Yeah, well,
and we don't have much. Hey,
My parents have got solar panels on their
Oh,
roof
there
of
you
the
go.
house.
but this is Britain. My point is,
Actually,
we don't
your
have
parents
much.
and my parents live literally 3, 4 doors away, and they both have 32 panels, 16 panels on their houses actually.
But it's more economically. So this farmer's decided it's more economically viable for him to harvest sun in a country where the sun never fucking shines. Right?
Ah, it
Then
doesn't matter. It's light.
there you go. You
that's right,
see.
yeah.
So, but in the Sahara though, or
There's
any
a lot
other
of
desert,
a lot of sun.
yeah, it's gonna work a lot better than a field in fucking Cheshire.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine being the front of the fucking maintenance guys who's got to go out to the middle of Sahara to fucking
Oh.
fix a panel.
Oh, no.
You'd
Imagine
be a
the heat.
June buggy though, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
You'd
but
drive
that's
around
not-
a June buggy.
yeah,
all
then
day.
you've got to get off and fix it, and you're behind a fuck ton of solar panels drawing the heat out.
Don't look at the solar panels with
sorry.
the naked eye. That's what I'm saying. Fry your eyes out.
Because you'd be between them, wouldn't you?
You need to
So you'd have
send.
this bits of fucking heat bouncing off you as you're fucking underneath the one.
Well, you need to send
man,
Kenny
you fucking-
Baker. I know he's dead now, but send Kenny Baker. That's the bloke who played R2D2, isn't it? Because they sat him in a fucking. They put him in a tin can in the desert and filmed him for days. But he didn't have any rights because he's a little person.
I'm pretty sure that that's modern day slavery.
I'm pretty sure in the 70s the film industry wasn't as regulated as it is now. And you wouldn't be allowed to put a little person in a tin can in the desert anymore. But anyway, he'd be good at fixing your solar panels is all I'm
He would,
saying. And
yeah.
he could use his R2 costume to move between panels.
Yeah.
So, back to the war.
Yeah. So, did I say that the 13th of April, Russia accuses Britain of staging the alleged chemical attack in Syria?
Well, how very dare you, Russia?
And they claim to have evidence of this, which to this point of recording has not been. Well, there's some things been revealed, but it's nothing to do with Britain. It's more of a false flag, isn't it?
So you're
The Syrian.
you're a top level British either government or MI whatever it is, and you're thinking like, right, we need problems with Russia, and we got to create one.
So we'll poison this spy.
Do we have any Russians? We must have some diplomats, somebody like that, some spy. We must have something. Yeah, we got this dude. Used to work for them, now works for us. Perfect. Kill him with something Russian.
Yep.
Okay. But being Brits, we fucked it up.
Yep. Delightfully.
We
muddled.
went and bought the fucking chemicals from the fucking factory up the road. Literally, listener, if you're not up to up to speed on this story. We're not exaggerating. The fucking one place in our country
Well, they do
where
all
they
that shit.
make this stuff was fucking 20 minutes.
It was literally 20 minutes drive away, yeah, it wasn't far away.
Up the fucking road from where this chemical attack.
It has been analysed now, hasn't it? By
It
the
has.
Swiss lab.
An independent Swiss lab, and they claim. Hold on. I've got it in the
Gordy,
notes somewhere.
gordy, gordy.
They
Sorry.
claim that the I got this in an article later on. It's something called just BZ, and it's an agent designed by Western powers. Yeah, it's a Western designed agent.
Is Russia the West? No, they're the East.
No, yeah.
Not in the Middle East.
So
Or
they're
the
basically
Far
saying
East.
that it's one of ours, so we did
Okay.
it.
They're saying yeah.
How? None of us are chemists, are we? But I was thinking, how do you identify where this? Don't we all make the same chemicals? Like, you know,
I think it depends on the strain. They might have very
Right.
similar. They're all
because are
broadly
these things
similar
patented?
symptoms.
Are these things like, you know, owned and patented?
I would imagine that.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
There's only so many types of identified chemical weapons.
I'm just
by the
curious
world,
as-
so
I
this
don't
is something
know.
brand new.
What you were trying to say is what's the difference between a Russian one and a UK
yeah, that's
one?
what I'm curious. To
I
know.
don't know.
They
It
must
might
have
be-
a way of knowing.
It might be some
Yeah,
kind of
well, I
chemical
guess.
compound build up.
That's what the labs say, so
Yeah.
they must have a way.
I mean, imagine the fucking how high tech that lab is. I mean, think The Rock, where they do the biological bit at the start, and
Ooh.
that secret that lab with the glass
I
container.
like those glass balls with the green stuff in.
Yeah,
in
they
that
are.
movie. That's,
Great film,
that's
great movie.
Fucking classic. Michael
One of
Bay.
Nicolas Cage's best, actually.
Probably. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb, Ben.
If you want to say it's his
Con
best,
Air or The Rock.
I think The Rock, because you've got the Sean
Yeah,
Connery thing next to
Sean
him, haven't you?
Connery,
And he's
yeah.
good in it. It's like one of his last good films.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Mike's nodding.
yeah.
Con Air's
I
good.
like Con Air. I like them both.
And what's
But
his face?
the
Steve
Bunny.
Buscemi's great in that as well.
Yeah.
I drove across 3 states wearing their head as a hat.
Yeah.
You know, fantastic. But it's no Sean Connery being
Yeah.
ex-SAS, breaking into Alcatraz
Yeah.
and telling Ed Wood to fuck off.
Put
Is it
the
Ed Wood?
bunny
What's his name?
in the box. It is Ed.
Ed Harris.
Ed Harris, there you go.
And telling Ed
Yeah.
Harris to fuck off.
Interesting
It's
little
great.
fact because it's come up before on the podcast. You know how I was saying about Nicolas Cage basically does about 3 direct-to-DVD action movies a
Yeah.
year, and they're varying degrees of awful and wonderful. And I've seen a lot of them. The reason he does that is apparently money troubles.
Yeah.
The guy just needs money coming in. I heard, do you know why Kevin Bacon, Hollywood star Kevin Bacon, is on our
Kevin
fucking
Bacon.
TV
Oh,
screens
stupid
advertising?
ads.
Is it Sky or
EE?
So he is, to international listeners, Hollywood star Kevin Bacon
I fucking
is
hate
advertising probably the 3rd biggest phone company, not even a top
Second?
phone company
Yeah, I don't know. That's
in
pretty,
England.
pretty good. IEE. I
But
IEE.
I don't know, you still got, aren't Orange still?
That's old orange, yeah.
But anyway, so why is he on our TV doing shitty little adverts? Apparently, he was a victim of the Bernie Madoff.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he lost all his
Yeah.
fortunes.
All
and
that money he made
investments.
from Tremors.
Well,
Hey,
no,
don't
no,
knock
no.
Tremors.
Kevin
The film
Bacon had a
Tremors.
good career, man. He
I
was.
think there's a new Tremors coming out.
He certainly
Like
didn't have the
Tremors
sort
6
of
or something.
career where you need to be doing fucking second-rate adverts.
He's a
in
B
England.
movie actor who did
No,
B
I
movie
don't know.
films.
I don't know. Yeah, but even
Although
Dude,
he was
even-
in X-Men First Class, where he didn't annoy me too much. But Flashdance, fuck that off in the reggae box.
Footloose.
Not
I think you're on
Flashdance, Footloose.
I'm just saying, the dude made some money and he lost it, so that's why he's on TV.
Yeah.
about. Back to the war.
Back to
Back to
the
the
war.
war. So Russia's accused Britain of staging it, and Emmanuel Macron, the French president, They got president and a prime minister. He's a
I
president.
think they have.
He's the president. He's the guy in charge.
Yeah.
He claims that France has got proof that it's the Russians. That was on the 14th of April.
Oh.
How does Russia killing a Russian in Britain, on British soil, I agree that I realise that's a crime. How does that give us rights to go and fight with Syria? What are we trying to do? If we
Well, that was
stage-
nothing. That was nothing to do with that. That was just to
This
expel
is
the
like
diplomats.
this is like
we're just trying to paint
false
Russia
flag.
to be
Yeah,
the bad guy.
yeah.
yeah. We're trying to.
We're not trying to
try-
start a fight with them because we don't want that.
No.
do we?
No, but we want to paint them as the bad guy to the
Right.
public. Oh, look what they've done on British soil.
Yeah.
They've committed a terrorist attack on British soil. They're no better than ISIS
Right.
kind of mentality amongst your average Brit who believes what the Sun says.
Are Russians the next Muslims in British society?
Hey, Call of Duty, all the Call of Duty games, guys, in the Modern Warfare ones, who are you fighting?
I don't know.
The Russians.
Oh.
You never.
They're back now,
It
don't
was,
they?
the first Call of Duty was actually a rogue Islamic State, but then the last two, and the last, sorry, how many Call of Duty games were there? 4. It was Russians the bad guys. The Russians invaded the US, they invaded Europe. Then you found out that it was actually this Russian terrorist who'd orchestrated a war between the major powers and all this. So, yeah, you were fighting the Russians. How many of us, I mean, I grew up, I love Call of Duty, it was fucking awesome.
I played the first couple.
If you played first-person shooters, there's like an
I'm
Xbox
crap at them.
One,
I didn't
Xbox
like
360
it,
kind of generation. Xbox 360 probably. You were playing Call of Duty.
I played on PlayStation 2, I think. Did it start in World War II?
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
I played that one, and I do appreciate. I'm just awful at first-person shooters. Yeah, just not my favourite type of game. But so that's where we are now. So it's back to the 13-year-olds of Britain are fighting Russians for 12 hours a night instead of sleeping or doing homework. Awesome.
Interesting, isn't it?
But do you see what I'm saying though is Muslims are the bogeymen in America and Britain right now. It's the way it's been painted. I was actually today. I said to the boys off mic. Today, as we record, was the Vaisakhi festival in our hometown of Telford. Well, it's all over the world, but it is a Sikh festival. Not many white people there, but
Oh, there's not many white Sikhs.
there you go. But I was thinking as I was there that I bet you there's people in the houses looking out the window thinking these fucking Muslims.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Coming
Like,
over here,
it's a fucking Sikh festival. I only know, and to enlighten the listeners,
They're all ragheads to them.
Yeah, well, my best friend is a Sikh.
That's what
Well,
they think.
that's what they say.
I know.
My best friend is a Sikh, British Sikh. So I think I know more than your average
You
jockey
keep
lad.
voting Brit bloke.
Yeah, about Sikhism and
Steaming pile of shit knows more than the fucking
Well, there
UKIP
you go.
voters.
But yeah, I was thinking, I was like, because they're the bogeymen. I bet there's people, because they had to shut down the streets to do this procession. I said, there will be people looking out the windows thinking, fucking Muslims closing our streets. And so my point was that then Russians going to be the next bogeymen.
Yeah.
Because we've got to have an enemy, we've got to have a reason.
Got to have a reason to put
to
that
be
money
doing
into the
it.
military
It
industrial
can't just be
complex,
money.
haven't we?
What would happen if they just came out and said to us, talked to us like grown-ups and said, look, we know this is a bit shitty, but it's just the way capitalism works. We need to go and get that gas line. People are
And
going to
everyone
die.
would say, well, capitalism isn't working, fuck capitalism off.
But wouldn't they say to your average man, you like that fucking gas coming out your cooker, don't you?
The average man, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Your average, the Sun newspaper reader.
Yeah.
But there's enough people.
So they have to bullshit. They have to come out to the people, the public, and say, and give some sort of heroic reason, some sort of morally superior reason for why we do it. It's not money, it's fucking gas some cunts.
Yeah.
But did
But did he? So let's have a look at this. This U.S. Marine. Kenneth O'Keefe. He blows whistle on the Syrian false flag and the real agenda.
Yeah, this is from a year ago. So this is on the second chemical attack.
Because there has been a previous one to this.
Well, it's been 2 months. This is the third now, apparently.
Yeah.
But the
That's all we have to say.
other two were debunked, and they were rebels, weren't they?
Yes, they were. They were not the Assad regime.
And they said this about Saddam as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or they just throw that chemical weapons red card out there, don't
Who
they?
sold the chemical weapons to
Well,
Iraq?
I'll tell you that later on.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you about the Syrian one.
So this is a former US Marine.
Yeah.
Kenneth O'Keefe.
The United States is in a perpetual state of war because the bankers control the politicians and they read the script as given to them by the banksters and they make huge amounts of money off of this. What this gentleman is saying about the United States not wanting war, not wanting to get involved is like Iraq 2.0. It's a repeat of the same rubbish that was said, oh, we don't want war, war is a last resort. That's absolutely untrue. It's a lie. Those that are in government are nothing more than prostitutes who are carrying out the orders of those who are in charge of them, and those that are in charge want another war. And part of that is what we discussed earlier, the Greater Israel Project, to destabilize any Arab regime which might have any kind of autonomy and self-determination. Any regime in the Arab world that is not an absolute puppet cannot be tolerated. And who are the nations that we target? Those that are not puppets. We don't target those like the Saudi regime, which is the biggest human rights violator in that region. It's cutting off people's heads in public, cutting off hands. It is the most grotesque regime on the planet, and yet we give that regime weapons, and it's no problem whatsoever. The duplicity and hypocrisy of the United States and the West can't even be measured. It is so enormous. And these mouthpieces, such as this gentleman in Washington, is only doing a disservice to himself and his country. And the fact is that American sons and daughters will get involved in this yet again, and these chicken hawks who are pretending to care about the Syrian people are going to be sacrificing not their own sons and daughters. I would like this man to send his sons and daughters and his grandchildren off to Syria when this turns into a greater conflict, because this is what we're flirting with, is a world war, a third world war. This is not a joke. We are flirting with a third world war on the basis that apparently we care so much about the Syrian people, just like we care so much about the Iraqi people and the Afghani people. The only people that buy this sort of stuff are either bought-off prostitutes or the dumbest of the dumb. And we're also led to believe that Assad is the dumbest idiot dictator on the planet now, isn't he? Because he invited UN inspectors to come in, and he brought them in on the very day that they come in. He decides to attack his own people 10 miles away from where the inspectors arrive. This is beyond ridiculous, and the only people that buy this, again, are bought-off prostitutes or the dumbest of the dumb.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, man.
I like him.
He's Asian.
I like him.
Guy.
So let me tell you what our Sun national newspaper has to say.
All right,
And
now.
this is the Sun, owned by Rupert Murdoch. It's News Corps. Same as Sky News, same as Fox News.
This is what your truck driver, your taxi driver, your factory worker, this is what, it's probably the most popular paper in the country, unfortunately.
Now, when this false flag theory, this false flag accusation started to rise, the Sun run the headline, quote, "Sick trolls claim Syria gas massacre was a deep state false flag operation designed to trick Trump into war with Assad," end quote.
Oh.
That was what they ran with.
And do you know what? We're back to why we do this podcast, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yep.
You're a fucking troll. You're a conspiracy
Yeah.
theorist. You're a fucking lunatic, tinfoil hat idiot for even fucking daring to question the official narrative.
Yeah.
And you've explained to me in
you've
about
seen
an
the
hour.
video
Yeah.
of the British. We'll get to him in a moment. You've seen that. He just gets cut off.
Exactly. And it's so fucking patronising.
Yep.
You're not allowed to question anymore. 9/11, they released the official report. That's the story.
Yeah.
Fuck off. That angers me. It's like,
So it should, mate.
Yeah.
Because
we're
these
trolls,
bastards,
are we? We're internet trolls, are we? For having a little think about this.
The thing is, we've come to you. You've seen on the news. You don't know about this. You had to look
Yeah.
where Syria was on the fucking map.
Yep.
Right. No, you present yourself in that bubble. That's fine. Me and Mikey were sat here Friday night, and we actually put the news on. We were playing Champo, and we finished. We were watching something and put the news on for a bit. I had to go, and we watched Trump state that he'd made the attacks.
Yeah.
It literally was weird, and it was like, fuck. Well, that's it. But then we started thinking, well, this doesn't all seem quite right.
Well, no, because the day the night time that we bombed, the day after, the inspectors are meant to investigate them sites.
Yes, you want me to tell you what they said?
So that's dodgy as fuck to
Yeah.
begin with, isn't it?
The OPCW.
That's why they pushed for it so hard, because they didn't want them going in realising that it was a false flag and calling them out on it. So they just bomb it, destroy the evidence.
So let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah.
All right. So were airstrikes by the coalition designed to destroy evidence of Western involvement in the alleged chemical attack, and were the strikes carried out before the OPCW, which is the Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, had started their investigation on the ground in Syria? Literally supposed to be yesterday. The attacks went in early hours Saturday morning.
Yes and yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to give you a good metaphor for it. Let's say your girlfriend accuses you of cheating.
Yeah.
And she says, I want to look through your phone. And you say, of course. Oh, you can definitely look through my phone, babe. You can read all the messages. You can do everything. And then just as she's about to take it from you, you fucking smash it on the floor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Accident.
Oh, how did I drop that? Now the screen's completely broken.
Oh, it's completely. Oh, and I stamped on it too. Sorry. Sorry, but trust me,
Yeah.
I am still innocent.
I love it, guys.
You start eating your phone to stop looking at it.
Oh no, it's in my mouth!
I'm innocent.
I've got independent hand syndrome! It's out of no control!
That explains all my wanking. Independent hand syndrome.
Oh man, what is it? It's wandering hand syndrome.
Oh.
Have you seen Dr. Strangelove?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
no.
watch it.
I know it's one of those
Fantastic.
where
We
you
have to
should.
do it.
Yeah.
That is fantastic.
I would
Dr.
like to see
Strangelove,
that.
he only ever comes in. He comes in right at the end, and he's this crippled wheelchair-bound Nazi doctor who's got wandering hand syndrome. His hand keeps shooting up into the Hitler salute,
God,
and he has to
stop
keep
it.
pulling it down. And he gets carried away. I think at one point he stands up and shouts like "Heil the Führer!" and realises what he's doing and just sit back down again. Genius. Peter Sellers playing 3 or 4 roles in that film.
I have a funny tale to retell. I'll do it quickly, but on the same theme. Is there's a wrestler called The Miz, and he does this thing where he goes, when my hand goes up, and he raises his hand straight above his head. When my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. And I tried this with my girlfriend's kids as a joke. I was like, right, when my hand goes up, your mouth goes shut. Everyone's giggling, it's very cute. And they're copying me. Only they don't understand the difference between holding your hand straight above your head and holding it slightly out in front of you. And my missus said to me, you've taught the kids fucking Heil Hitler. If I put it on YouTube, I'd be in prison now.
Vilified as the most evil man in the country right now. But do you know about one of the most least evil men in the country?
Yeah.
Saint Tony.
Oh.
Of Blair?
Saint Tony of Blair. Noted Saint Tony war
You
criminal.
mean the Middle East peace envoy?
Yes, like Middle Eastern peace, former Middle Eastern peace envoy.
Philanthropist of the year. Save the children.
Save the children, head of Save
Not
Children.
that brown though, Tony.
Former British Prime Minister and noted war criminal Tony Blair
He's actually in the war criminal book.
Oh, fantastic.
says non-intervention has consequences and he wants more strikes.
Oh, fucking hell.
Unbelievable. Why will this fucking twat just go away or get arrested or whatever?
Jesus. More strikes, Tony. Great. Because our strikes, they're so fucking precise, aren't they? They're literally programmed not to blow up children.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck off.
The shrapnel swerves its way around them. It's that intelligent.
Terrorist-seeking shrapnel.
Terror-seeking shrapnel.
Fucking God, I mean, come on. And so the Sun's saying we're trolls for thinking this way. Internet trolls. Are we? Are we mental? Or is this
Maybe
just...
a little bit.
Well, that's, yeah, definitely debatable.
I don't give a fuck when he says that man's a war criminal.
I hope he sees that every
A
time
million
he goes to
people.
the-
A million people marched, didn't they?
Yeah.
They did.
Not in my name. Fucking hell, Tony. More strikes. You're the Middle
Was
East.
the Middle Eastern peace envoy. I don't think he is anymore.
But still, how can you call
He set the
for more
fucking region on
strikes?
fire. How can he be the peace envoy?
How would you feel now then? So Russia, let's say, they're like a bit like, well, these British, they do willy-nilly bomb people, you know, like let's bomb them a little bit and teach them. How will we feel
Exactly.
as
mate.
your average fucking Joe? I'm driving me van along and then the fucking city explodes in front of me and my fucking face
That's
burns
it.
up. To teach my government a lesson. And this, I said, well, the mics are after midnight. I think that we should try and get round to it at some point, trying to put ourselves to empathise with. Imagine being your average fucking Joe on the street in Syria, who
Horrific, man.
fucking hates ISIS,
Yeah.
and's
Hates
not a
the
big fan of the
government,
government, right? And you got these international fuckers.
They just bomb it willy-nilly.
What do you do? How do you live?
It's always the poor.
And
It's
so
always
then-
the poor that suffer.
But then
in
they
war.
try and escape and come here to us.
And we tell them to fuck off.
Fuck you, we
Which
don't
is-
care. And you got people like Katie Hopkins tweeting, I
Oh.
don't care about the dead babies on the beach.
And the cockroaches.
And
What an evil bitch.
to quote a meme I saw today, bombing the Syrians, then refusing to take in their children. It's no worse than running through a wheat field, isn't it, Teresa?
Oh, fuck.
It's true.
Oh.
It's true. It's absolutely true. And this is where we get the hypocrisy of it all. This is the we are selling cluster bombs, which are illegal under international law, because we've signed up to the convention.
So what's a
they are bombs that then drop lots of little bombs.
I know from Worms. I've played Worms. Yeah.
And devastate a massive area.
They can't be that accurate.
It's just not accurate. It's just area bombing.
Right.
You take
Carpet bombing.
Yeah, carpet bombing. I love that phrase though. It's so fucking carpet.
No, but I'd love the quote from Joe Rogan. He believes we should carpet bomb the world with magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
And everyone will start to feel a little different. Trust me.
But we are selling that to the Saudis.
Yeah. But they're illegal to use.
They're illegal to use, but we because we don't use them, we can still sell them.
Oh, it's not legal to produce them and sell them.
No, you just can't use them.
Oh,
the Saudis aren't signed up to the Geneva Convention, so they can use them. That's fine.
But they're our mates.
They're our mates.
And they're not signed up to the Geneva Convention.
Didn't Saudi Arabia get control of the UN human rights?
They did. They sat at the head of the Human Rights Council. It was their turn.
Your women aren't allowed to drive?
Yeah.
You're beheading people for minor crime.
For homosexuality and
and atheism and
I tell you, mate, topsy-turvy, the world doesn't work like you think it should.
So we've touched on what the agenda, what we're being told. So this is from Sky News. I believe it was Friday evening, which would have been the 13th. Yes, it was the 13th, Friday the 13th.
And a positive to come from this, just before we play, I think this video has gone a bit viral, because I know you shared it.
I shared it on the page on Friday night.
And I've seen a couple of friends share it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
This is because it's textbook.
Yeah.
This is just textbook. They don't want this guy talking about the shit that he's talking about, and they just cut him off.
It is the former head of the British Armed Forces in Iraq. He was the ranking general of all British Armed Forces in Iraq.
So they brought him on thinking, oh, military guy, he'll be pro-war.
So just to clear up,
not during the invasion, during the aftermath.
So to clear up for me, because Ben's our resident military guy with experience.
Not much experience. I got drunk a lot in army bases.
But you know what I mean, a lot more than me. So this guy, everyone who was based in Iraq, it's a pyramid structure. He was at the top of the...
Yes, he was.
He's a fucking big deal.
Yeah.
This isn't some loony bin.
He's a professional soldier who's spent many years on campaign and is experienced to be appointed to head of a British armed force, an expeditionary force, let's call it. Or actually, we're more technical, an occupation force, but peacekeeping force. There we go.
But he was top dog. Basically.
He was top dog. He was top of the book, top of the pyramid.
And this was on Sky fucking News. When?
Friday, I believe it was. Friday night.
This is unbelievable.
Do you think anything what we've heard from either Sergei Lavrov or indeed the Russian ambassador has made it more difficult for the UK to launch any kind of attack without putting it to Parliament?
Yeah, I think quite apart from all that, the debate that seems to be missing from this is, and this was actually mentioned by the ambassador, was what possible motive might have triggered Syria to launch a chemical attack at this time in this place. The Syrians are winning. Don't take my word for it. Take the American military's word for it. General Virgil, the head of CENTCOM, he said to Congress the other day, Assad has won this war, and we need to face that. So, and then you got last week the statement by Trump, or the tweet by Trump, that America had finished with ISIL and we were going to pull out soon, very soon. And then suddenly you get...
Okay, I'm very sorry. You've been very patient waiting for us, but we do need to leave it there. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much indeed. More to come on Sky News. Do stay tuned.
There you have it. There you go. There's the best example I can give you. Really.
The thing of it is, I'm not a news professional, but I've seen the news. She doesn't say sorry, we've got to cut you off there because we're running short on time because the advert break's coming up. Or we have an incoming. We've got this guy on the line, and a breaking report. She's just literally like, no, we don't like what you're saying, and now I'm going to awkwardly look at camera whilst I wait for the voice in my ear to tell me what the fuck to do next.
I'll give due to her for professionalism because, at first she looked panicked and then she just settled right back into that sort of I'm the puppet master role.
And he wasn't even saying anything he was basically like, so what's the motivation? Why would they attack their own people? And I guess he's referring to what I've learned earlier, that these guys were going in to do the...
They've won, they beat ISIS.
No, but is he saying...
going in to test the chemicals.
The inspectors, yeah. Why would he attack them at this time in this place?
Yeah.
All he was simply
US were pulling out. They've won the war.
Yeah.
CENTCOM says that
they're mopping up now. They're mopping up. All of a sudden, the only thing that would get US back into the war is if he uses chemical weapons. So he uses them.
Yeah.
How mad is that? You just wouldn't do it, would you? You're winning a war. America's got anything. Thank fuck for that. They're fucked up.
You've probably got a
right,
decent
General,
deal.
gas them fuckers.
Yeah. And you've probably got a decent deal with Putin as well, because he's supplying you with.
And do you know their excuses?
It might be 60-40, it might be 70-30, but you're taking an income from that pipeline. It's more than you get with the Yanks.
And you know what the West's excuses? He's that evil. He doesn't care.
He's that
he just
evil.
Wants to gas him.
And Theresa May did say that it's limiting the response, limiting the chances of a chemical attack on British streets.
Oh.
So nothing to do with cutting your police numbers.
No.
That might stop a chemical attack.
If I can't get a fucking lighter on a plane in Italy and take it with me to fucking England, I mean, do you know what I mean? We're pretty safe. I know I've touched wood when I say that, but come on, we don't get attacked very often. When we do, they're usually shut down pretty quick. I mean, for fuck's sake, we've had terrorist attacks that were literally
what's more of a
people
threat,
attacking
guys?
people with knives on the street.
Yeah. What's more of a threat?
That's the best they could do over here, using vans as weapons.
The odd bit of terrorism, like you say, what's the biggest threat? The odd bit of terrorism,
homemade suicide bomb.
Or starting a war with a nuclear power like Russia. Which is the worst? Which is the more dangerous?
Who outnumber us militarily, probably like 150 to fucking 1.
Better weapons, more nukes.
Chance.
We're in between America and Russia.
The fact that we spent 2 days deliberating over whether Trump and the West spent 2 days deliberating, and Corbyn accused May of just being America's poodle effectively. So you're just waiting to see what Donald Trump does. But in 2 days, you've lost the element of surprise. Whatever they had, anywhere they wanted to hide that there's a known target, they just moved. They bombed a chemical weapons plant in Damascus. Why would you build a chemical weapons plant in the centre of your fucking city?
If there's an accident, you kill everyone.
Kills everybody.
Well, like,
why would you do that?
The one we mentioned earlier in our country is sort of in a leafy it's in the middle of the countryside, isn't it?
It's out on Salisbury Plain, which is
right.
It's
so you would, when building these research centres, I would like to think, put in some kind of thought would go into their location as for a worst case scenario. I mean, how would you get permit, like insurance, planning? I mean, this is interesting, and I like that I'm a bit more informed now, because it is nice living in my bubble, but it's a fucking double-edged sword, protecting yourself from all this. Because, yes, on the one hand, I'm not affected, but I'm not miserable, because this is making my blood boil, talking about it the way we are. In a good way, it's interesting, but
this is why
it fucking angers me.
This is why we have to get into politics and get rid of the fuckers like these that want to do this, start this war and shit.
We have literally voted a bunch of sociopaths into power. And the worst of it is, Trump is lauded as the fucking chosen one by his evangelical followers. Theresa May is a vicar's daughter who claims that she's got a very close personal relationship with God. Is anyone seeing a fucking theme here?
What did God tell you about
you can't take an essentially good message and twist it. We don't want them fuckers over there, so we're going to love thy fucking neighbour.
I thought the first one was thou shalt not kill.
It's kind of the first one, isn't it?
That's the biggie. That's the biggie.
Hey, listen, Batman doesn't fucking kill. Optimus Prime doesn't kill unless he's in a Michael fucking Bay movie. Heroes don't unless they can. What does Optimus Prime say? Freedom is the right of all sentient beings. These people in fucking Syria, that's the thing I can't get over in my head, just trying to, because this is all new to me. So America's fighting both sides of the fucking government.
Well, the West are,
not just Trump, and if you're just you're a taxi driver in Syria who doesn't give a fuck about ISIS, you're not that fucking...
You just try to make a few quid to keep your family fed.
You've got a couple of daughters, you're just trying to get through fucking life and live, And
the next thing you know, you're driving along a main street and 200 yards up the road, a Tomahawk cruise missile slams into the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
Because it's gone off target, it's gone rogue, it's been hit by anti-aircraft fire and it's spanning trajectory and gone off target.
And this might be simplifying it, but you can boil it down to the reason that's happened to that taxi driver is that somebody who's already impossibly rich wants to be fucking richer.
Yeah.
It's insane. How much money can you? How much can you buy with it? And I heard a good. No, I'm about to quote you, Ben, from because I was listening to our Diana episode. You quoted Game of Thrones, which I don't watch, but I remember the quote. I'll create a dynasty that will last 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And that rings true with some of the David Icke book that I've been reading today of like
the bloodlines.
The bloodlines that they are thinking 1,000 years down the line. Like I am gonna. That's the only reason I can think of. Why do you need to keep getting more and more and more wealth? Well, I got to feed a family for 1,000 years, man, and I got to, protect these institutions.
Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Of course.
And with great power comes great responsibility. I just mimed doing a Spider-Man thing.
It sounded like jizz.
Hey, here's a thought. If Spider-Man has a nocturnal dream, a wet dream, does he wake up webbed to his sheets? Like, oh fuck, I'm stuck for the next 30 minutes. This is fucked up, man.
Have you ever heard of a report called The New American Century? It was penned in the 60s and the 70s by people like Cheney.
This whole New World Order thing is planned
out.
Whole
New World Order. We got a war in the Middle East.
Actually, this rings a bell.
Established dominance over the energy supplies. Neo-fascist.
We paid Muslims as the enemy.
Neocon.
It was that general that came out and said he whistleblowed on it, didn't he?
Oh, God.
Some American general.
Well, it's a whole episode on its own. We'll get to it, but that's just
definitely.
It's like almost. It's all panning out exactly the same as that report said.
Mm-hmm.
The Middle East will become the bogeyman, basically. It says, doesn't it? And we'll create.
Plus, it's in the Bible, isn't it? Armageddon, innit?
Of course. Let's face it.
Do you know what? Speaking on that, I'm a big time Johnny Cash fan, but he does a lot. He's a very, very deeply Christian man.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't. The thing is, though, I love his voice so much. I will listen to him singing about God to the end of the days. I don't necessarily.
I love that song, God Will Cut You Down.
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. I don't necessarily have to agree with it to appreciate Johnny singing, but he's got a song called "By the Book," and I listened to it, and I was like, oh God. He's basically singing about how, hey, don't worry, it's going exactly as it said it would in the book. The world's going to fuck itself up and die in a horrific fireball of hell and death, which I didn't realise is predicted in the
Bible,
Revelations.
Then Jesus comes back after that? Or
it's all right.
Yeah.
If you're washed in the blood of the lamb, you're all right.
But it was just that line in the song, the way he's like, it's going by the book. It's and it's going by that plan.
Yeah, but it's going by the book because the lunatic religious fanatics who we've put in charge of the country that want to see it happen, so they're making it happen. So, I mean, that Mike Pence, the VP. I mean, he's a fucking. And I always expect he was put there in case Trump gets fired. You've got a fucking evangelical Christian in the country.
Takes over. Or gets assassinated.
Because Trump don't believe it. When Trump says God
no, he don't
stuff,
believe it. He don't.
When he says God stuff, he's just like, that's what they want to hear.
Yeah.
That's what they want to hear.
He's got no morals, no principles. He's got no guiding sort of.
Well, he started as a Democrat, didn't he? But now he's a Republican. He knows, hey, some of that God shit. They love that.
Yeah, that's it.
They fucking love a bit of God shit and a bit of blowing up some brown people. Fucking vote me in another 12 years. We'll change the Constitution. I'm going to be in for 20 years. Eternal Trump.
Dictator Trump. That's what he wants. That's what he would like.
Dear Leader Trump.
Dear Leader Trump. His ex-FBI guy, Comey's come out and said that he went nuts over the Russian prostitute pissing on the bed scandal, and apparently there could be more to it than.
Do you know what he come out and said? He said, "Oh, it couldn't possibly be. I'm a germaphobe."
Yeah, but he apparently puts him in fucking Howard Hughes territory. Visions of Trump and really long fingernails and shit long blonde hair and patches coming off his head. Not like a full skullet, but like patches growing off his head that he could make into an intricate series of comb-overs if he wanted to.
That would be Grand Warlord Trump after the nuclear apocalypse.
Yeah,
can I share?
Like that fucking what was that fucking dude from Mad Max Fury Road? Something Immortan Joe.
Oh, the bad guy. Immortan
Joe
with the long hair.
It's Trump.
Definitely. Well,
God, tell me that's not that wasn't a fucking prediction for the future.
I'll share a personal story with you, and I have a funny feeling that anyone listening to this show who's a male may have had the same experience in the last couple of weeks. I was watching a bit of porno. And on the porno site I was on anyway, they've started operating exactly like YouTube. There's a fucking advert before your porn starts. And I was like, what? Fucking total boner killer. She was like, hi, I'm Stormy Daniels. You might have seen me on the news recently. And I was like, what the yes, I have. Please subscribe to blah, 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 blah. And I was like, holy fuck. So she's like, on the one hand, in the midst of like dealing with the president and all this like high level, you know, political news stuff, but she's still being offered porn money, and she's like, I'll take that, I got bills to pay. I'm thinking about Trump, and I was ready to have a wank. Trump destroyed my wank. Impeach him.
I find he helps.
Oh man! Oh, for fuck's sake!
I like to imagine him just watching me over my shoulder.
Do you know what
It's huge, Mike. It's huge. It's huge.
Is he giving encouragement now?
Oh man!
Oh, can we go to the Swiss?
Take a break,
please. We've got a break. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so we are back, and now we hear that Russia had accused Britain of performing the attack, and they claim they had evidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's an article from the New York Post, and there's another article we had up. But, I've seen it in a few news sources that Moscow, Russia's foreign minister, says Moscow has received a document from a Swiss lab, an independent Swiss lab, that analysed the samples in the nerve agent poisoning of an ex-Russian spy, which points at Western-designed nerve agents as a likely cause. Minister Sergei Lavrov said Saturday that Moscow received the confidential information from the laboratory in Spitz, Switzerland, that analysed samples of the site from the 4th of March poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter in the English city of Salisbury. He said the analysis was done at the request of the Organisation for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the same guys that were supposed to be examining various sites in
Douma.
Syria on Saturday
Before they blew up.
after the strikes, before those sites mysteriously vanished in a blizzard of missiles and bombs. Yeah, isn't that strange?
Well, I don't think we know actually really what they've targeted, because
Well,
the
there was
West
three-
say that we've targeted chemical.
We say there was three targets hit, and they were meant to be chemical plants. But if he doesn't have the facilities, left to make those chemicals, he can't launch a chemical attack. Yes, they're easy to knock up these things, but they do require a certain level of sophistication.
Yeah.
And one of the sites hit was in Damascus. Now, I personally wouldn't set up a chemical weapons processing plant in the middle of my capital city where I am also based. Yes, chemicals aren't, it's not mixed at the facility.
Okay.
The chemicals are processed and designed, but they're in separate tanks. It's when you put them together,
But
and
still
you
if
literally do that behind the front lines, and then you move it up. You don't want that shit going off in the middle of a city.
But still, if you blew it up, it's not going to be
It
good
does-
for people.
No.
Is it? It's going to be chemicals.
The explosion on their own, they're probably perishable by high
through the
explosive
fire.
of the heat.
Right. Okay.
When the chemicals are mixed, they might take more heat. I mean, as you saw in the rock, and it's actually it was VX gas in the rock,
yeah.
and they actually launched that thermite plasma, which burned to a sufficient heat to burn off.
Right.
But that is one of the more deadly ones.
Okay.
This stuff isn't. Certainly, this stuff that the Skripals are subjected to isn't that bad. And what this actually,
My question from this article would be, who gave the sample to the Swedish independent laboratory?
The Brits gave it to the OPCW. The OPCW
Right.
gave it to
Oh,
the
so
Swiss.
Did we have to sort of legally?
I assume. I am assuming.
yeah, because the thing is, they're UN.
Because this could be spin too, couldn't it?
Yeah,
This could be Russian spin.
it could be.
Because
this is
we
from
have to
an
accept...
American paper.
Oh, right, okay.
But it is a Russian guy saying this.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to take that into account.
Right,
we don't
yeah.
know at the time of print.
No,
Because
at the time of
I was going to
recording-
say, there is also the possibility that Russia did do that attack in Britain.
There is a possibility.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know.
But the Russian guy saying no. The Swiss lab have said.
Britain has accused Russia of poisoning with a Soviet-designed agent, an accusation that Moscow denies. Lavrov said the document indicated the samples from Salisbury contained BZ nerve agent and its precursor. He said BZ was a part of chemical arsenals of the US, Britain and other NATO countries, while the Soviet Union and Russia never developed the agent.
So at the moment it's a case of he said, she said. But he says he's got evidence, so...
But
Right.
Russia would have developed the agent in the bid to build a counter to it. Because that's why we would have Novichok. Because we would develop it to build it, and then we would develop an antidote to it, which is what saved
Okay.
the Skirples.
Again,
And
simpleton question. Are Russia in the UN as well as us?
they are.
So we all might have access
They're on the
to that.
Security Council. There's 6 nations in the Security Council of
Right.
the UN. Britain, America, France, China, Russia,
Yeah.
and there's a floating one.
But that doesn't mean that we're allied with them. That just means
No.
that they've got...
If say,
But
for
NATO,
example,
he's on about NATO, so...
that is the North Atlantic Treaty. So
That's
you've got
us.
Britain, France, Germany, Spain, Norway, Sweden, Belgium, Holland,
Latvia, Estonia.
Estonia, Turkey. So that is essentially the bloc set up to defend against the Russian equivalent when it was the USSR, which was the Warsaw Pact, where you had Russia and a few of the Baltic states who are now part of NATO. The Russians don't like, obviously, because all of a sudden you've got a potentially hostile nation sat on your doorstep.
And which president said that they won't encroach NATO any further? Can't remember.
Bush.
Was it
I
Bush?
think it was Bush.
Or Reagan, one of them?
I think it was Bush who said that we won't encroach any further, but then they said they did anyway.
We do anyway.
Do you think
Basically, everything we've said to Russia has been a lie over the past fuck knows how long. We've always gone back on our word, basically.
Yeah.
It's sort of a case of...
Even down to nuclear missiles in Turkey in the 50s, when the Americans said, we won't put missiles in Turkey, and then they did.
They did, okay.
Because that beat Russian early defences then. Because they're only 40 minutes away from Russia.
Yeah.
The Russians couldn't detect it fast enough to deploy a countermeasure or to pre-launch.
Yeah.
And isn't Turkey itself in a bit of turmoil?
It is indeed.
Right now.
So it's not the most stable country to have your nuclear weapons based in.
Because I was going to say, I'm a little bit ashamed at this. It's one thing not listening to the news, but my lack of geographical knowledge is actually disgusting. Looking from that map earlier of where Turkey is kind of the last. It's the country between Europe and the Middle East.
Yeah,
isn't it?
it's the gateway from Europe to the Middle East. Yeah.
I don't know where I was going with that point, but I guess that it's involved. I would say more like maybe it's got more of a culturally. It's maybe got one foot in the middle.
It has, yeah, because it used to be Constantinople, which was part of when the Roman Empire split. Constantinople was the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, whereas Rome was the capital of the Western Roman Empire.
Okay.
Constantine the Great set up Constantinople, and it was the bridgeway between the major trading points.
Well, there's 2 parts of Turkey. There's the Christian part, and then there's a Muslim part.
exactly.
Oh, okay, right.
And
okay, that
the
makes
Christian
sense.
part, and well,
Well, it doesn't make sense, but
doesn't
I
matter.
get what
But
it's- yeah.
Constantinople was like later on when the Roman Empire receded into what's called the Byzantine Empire. Constantinople was like the major city in the world,
Right.
because you had both ideas, Western and Islamic, coming together, and it was more of a sort of free trade kind of thing. So it was one of the richest cities and one of the most enlightened.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's it's
The Ottoman Empire became part
and
of
then
it as
it
well,
became
didn't
the
it?
Ottoman
Again,
Empire.
though, they're
Oh,
just
no.
pawns in all of this, aren't they? They're being used
Turkey's
by us.
trying to be a player.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Because they shot down a Russian jet last year.
That's what I was going to bring up with
Yeah.
you, see, because all this talk of it's bad now. World War III is going to kick off. Blah blah. I do remember that news story. Turkey shot down a Russian.
Yeah, because it's
Surely
straight into
that
their
is
airspace.
fucking. Why didn't Russia then pound them?
Well,
or did they? Or
They didn't as such, but the thing is, NATO and its coalition allies in this bombing of Syria and ISIS allegedly were said basically that Russian jets, we all have our own flight paths.
Right.
So we don't end up with our jets engaging.
Yeah.
That Russian jet allegedly did cross into Turkish airspace. I presume it did, and that's why the Russians didn't kick up a fuss, even though they denied it at first.
Right.
So the
So maybe
Turks
they
had every
fucked up
right to shoot it down.
20
because-
seconds.
Legally
I think it
speaking,
was.
like
Legally
literally
speaking,
in all
yeah.
the treaties and everything, it's
Yeah.
like we had every. So that's why it wasn't
Yeah.
such a World War III.
Yeah.
Fuck.
They had every right to shoot it down because even
'Cause we've done the
momentarily, it strayed into Turkish airspace.
I think it was
Because
20
we haven't
seconds.
shot. We haven't
20
shot.
seconds, which was enough time for them to shoot that plane down.
Yeah.
We haven't shut planes down, have we? But I do again remember a news story that Britain has sort of see them off. You know,
Yeah,
we've had to see off some
Yeah,
Russian.
they've tried to incur into British airspace.
What do you think that's about? Is that
It's just
reconnaissance?
probing
Testing
our
the
defences.
waters, yeah.
Oh, it's saber rattling.
Saber
yeah.
rattling, keeping us on edge, probing our defences.
Right.
Because
Bit
we've
of
had to scrum.
reconnaissance.
We'll do the
maybe.
same to them.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
do the same to them. We
Oh,
fly.
but we won't hear that story.
No,
No.
we fly planes. I mean, remember that in the 50s and the 60s. Oh man, you're gonna laugh now. But it's just, the Americans had this thing called SAC,
Okay.
and it was called the Strategic Air Command. And 24 hours a day, 365 days a year,
Yeah.
they had B-52s flying around, air-to-air refueling, all carrying nuclear weapons, all over Western Europe, all over the Pacific, waiting for the mission to go. And they did that for about 20 years until missile-launched submarines made it obsolete.
Yeah.
Now imagine if one of them came down in
They
a populated
did.
city,
They
did
did.
it?
Well, they
But
didn't
the
go in a
bombing
populated
blast,
city.
didn't it? I might have
One
heard
came
that.
down in Spain. And there's been a couple of crashes. The Spanish one's the most famous.
Insane, isn't
But
it?
it did crash into the Spanish there's a Spanish tundra, isn't there? And they kind of sealed the area off and recovered it. There's probably more gone down, and we've just never heard of it crash into the sea.
Why
Remember
would
the
they tell
Pacific
us?
ones are circling.
I suppose the
and-
submarine's even more scary because you don't know where the fuck that
No.
actually
The
is.
thing is, you can have them bombers, but you
Yeah.
know they're all going to come into your airspace,
Yeah.
and you can track them and shoot them down. But when you've got a submarine that can sit 20 miles off your coast and fire a nuclear missile into Moscow,
So that's the thing that shocked me
then-
earlier. What I said, I watched one video. Because I did attempt to research, but I clicked the first video and I thought it was an actual report, but it wasn't. It was on the BBC website, and it was literally just camera footage of the missiles being launched from the ship the other night.
Yeah.
And I was genuinely struck by the gloom and of this video. And
have you ever watch it when you get home, watch a missile being launched from a submarine and there's a camera above the surface. And all of a sudden this mass, it's a Polaris missile, it's a nuclear missile, it's a test fire. It breaks through the water, and as soon as it's through the water, the fins pop out to provide, and it's like almost like a thing of technological beauty and absolute horror at the same time.
that's the
So, like, you can
dichotomy of
create
the whole
something-
thing, though, isn't
You
it?
can create
It's a-
something so precise and so technologically wonderful.
We're so brilliant.
We're so brilliant,
Yeah.
but it's got such a horrible
Outcome.
yeah, because it's got so many megaton warheads just in it, and they all, when that missile gets into space, it goes through the atmosphere, it comes back down in free
It
fall.
goes to space?
They go into space. They
I didn't know that.
Intercontinental ballistic missiles go into
I
space.
did fucking
Yeah,
know that.
and
And they use the orbit.
And that's how they use the orbit to fly around.
I didn't
And then as
fucking know
they
that.
re-enter,
Oh my
they drop
God.
off. The missile splits away. The main casing
Yeah.
splits away, and you end up with self-guided mini nuclear bombs that go to their targets, and like mini tomahawk, mini missiles that are guided by computer chips to their target.
Wow.
The Russian Lucifer 2 is apparently completely stealthy.
Hang on, it's
tracked.
called Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer 2. There was a
called
Lucifer 1. Satan 2.
Lucifer's the
It's like Satan, but bigger, badder, bolder, better.
Satan 2!
Lucifer's the telescope for the Pope.
That's right, sorry, yes, yeah.
Sitting on his fucking throne.
As we did say, there's-
snakehead.
it's called the light bringer. Lucifer technically is the light bringer.
They say, isn't it?
That's what they say, but that's technically the biblical.
I mean, come on, he's got demons behind him in a snakehead throne room, and his telescope's called Lucifer.
Yes.
He's fucking taking it. Because if you were truly, deeply religious, surely you would think that naming anything Lucifer would be a bit bad luck or just a bit bad taste. I don't know, just a bit like,
Yeah.
no, we don't do that. But they're fucking laughing in our faces. Oh yeah, the old telescope Lucifer never lets me down.
So,
Aye.
anyway, back to the war.
Yeah, back to this.
So the Swiss labs have said that we reckon this was Western designed.
Right.
Now, Boris Johnson has come out today. Our own, to our American listeners, our own floppy-haired blonde muppet, Boris Johnson.
Known scientific expert. Is he? Fuck. He's a fucking tool of
Well,
all.
what he said is that the UK must prepare for Russian retaliation. Now, that may not be military. It could be a cyber attack. It could be more Russian bots destroying our political system.
Yeah.
Even though the Tory party probably benefited most from the Russian bots, I'd imagine. But even so, we must prepare
Well, Russia
for
said.
retaliation. Yeah.
Russia says US plans to strike Damascus, pledges military response.
What was the date for that?
That was
March
the 13th.
March the 13th. So that's
This is interesting.
Oh, go on.
I forgot about this. Russia said on Tuesday it had information that the United States planned to bomb the government quarter in Damascus on an invented pretext.
That sums up what we said earlier about the Russians saying they had intelligence
about false flag.
And
about a false flag.
So they knew a month before, apparently, that they were going to stage this chemical attack.
Well, certainly an attack.
Well, yeah.
He's not saying chemical attack. He's saying the government quarters in Damascus for this. But
Yeah, he said on
it.
it. That's the chemical attack.
Yeah.
So they didn't know what it was going to be.
But
they knew.
remember, Trump gave him 2 days. Assange's not going to be sat in his presidential palace. Reads, looks at Twitter. Trump says he's going to bomb us. I'll just go down the shelter, shall I?
Yeah, it does actually say. Valery Gerasimov, head of Russia's general staff, said Moscow had information that rebels in the enclave of eastern Ghouta were planning to fake a chemical weapons attack against civilians and blame it on the Syrian army.
Yeah.
So, bit of a coincidence there.
Yeah, strange, isn't it?
They knew a month before,
Yeah.
and then it happened exactly like they said it would.
And even though today the Western government, various May and Trump have come out and they're very exposed and said that though airstrikes are not seeking regime change, they still stand a good. Sorry, this isn't what they said. They're not seeking a regime change, is what they said with these airstrikes.
In Syria,
they're merely trying to teach them a lesson.
It goes back to what my mate said, didn't it, on the phone to me? My drunk friend ranting at me earlier, dear listener, saying I told him what we were going to talk about on the show, and he said, "Oh, fucking make sure you say." Trump was saying, "Oh, that's not how you kill people. This is how you fucking kill people." It's like, oh man, I don't know where that point was going, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Psychopathy is what it is.
It's like, oh, you can't use them. You can't use them chemical ones, and we're going to teach you a lesson about dropping weapons by beating the shit out of you.
By dropping some weapons on you.
Yeah. It's like trying to say, let's say you've got 2 kids, one hits the other, and you say to them, you absolutely can't do that. And the way you make your point to the child who did the hitting is to hit them.
Yeah.
What have you achieved there?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
What have you taught the kid?
But
these
strikes still stand a good chance of escalating increasing tensions in the Western Russia, which when we refer to the Novichok thing, this is what we're increasing tensions and raising the risk of Cold War II, or even full-on conventional warfare, and possibly even nuclear strikes.
That's the big fear, isn't it?
Yeah. Even if we have conventional warfare, the British Army on its current strength is just going to be overrun by the Russians, regardless of how good it is. And
It's the numbers.
It's just numbers. It's just a simple numbers game.
Our country,
even with the rest of
NATO,
NATO
1,000 times
stood behind us, we're not going to hold off a full-scale Russian invasion. It would have to resort to nuclear strikes. Tactical nuclear strikes.
A Russian invasion, can you imagine?
Now, PT,
So what would happen to us?
Now, RT, well, do you want to know where your nearest nuclear bunker is? Because I googled this.
You did tell me.
It's the telephone exchange in Birmingham, but there's no way on earth we'd be fucking let in, let's face it. Do you know where Theresa May's bunker is? The one who's smirking through all of this, giving the order to strike without parliamentary consent. Do you know where her bunker is? Right in the 10 Downing Street. Or under Whitehall, in the Pindar bunker, wherever she may be. She has access to a fucking bunker, wherever she may be.
And the rest of us,
and the whole cabinet, and the royal family, and anyone of absolutely any fucking importance, while the rest of us plebs.
Cliff Richard.
I You know what? If I find him
The
in the
Royals
pockets,
love
I'll
him, I
shank
think.
him myself.
But you said something quite important there that didn't come up earlier, that I didn't know about, as I don't follow the news. You said there, not Parliament sanctioned. So once again, so she hasn't gone to Parliament and said, "Oh, Trumpy wants us to help."
Yeah.
Doing this.
Shall we?
What does everyone think? There was no vote on it. She has literally just taken the decision.
Yep.
To join in. That's not good, is it?
You know, Parliament's due to meet on Monday. Anyway, it was due to meet on Monday. Strange enough, that will be 2 days after the OPCW guys, who were there to investigate that shit, would have turned up on the ground. On the Friday morning, early hours of Saturday morning, we made the decision to blow certain sites, we're told it's 3 targets that they destroyed. What if it was the Douma? What if it was a site? What if they just blasted that site with thermite plasma and burnt away any trace of chemical attack?
Yeah.
Well, they'll never know. There's nothing to
thing
investigate now, is there?
No one has nothing to investigate. You've hit the nail smack on the head. No one's got nothing to investigate.
We've blown it up.
Yeah. That strikes me as a bit weird. You're in such a hurry to do it that
without approval.
That the UN guys, their job is to investigate these things, you've blown it all to hell.
Well, do you want to read the Secretary General's statement that he made 2 days ago?
2 days ago. This is Secretary General Antonio Gutierrez. That's a cool name.
Is he from France then?
Probably. No.
Spanish, I imagine.
Spanish, yeah.
I'm confused. Who's the Secretary General? Sorry.
He's the dude that's kind of the spokesman for
of the United Nations.
The United Nations.
Sorry,
yeah.
I didn't see that bit. Okay.
I have been following closely the reports of airstrike in Syria conducted by the United States, France and the United Kingdom. There's an obligation, particularly when dealing with matters of peace and security, to act consistently with the Charter of the United Nations and with international law in general. The UN Charter is very clear on these issues. The Security Council has primary responsibility for the maintenance of international peace and security. I call on the members of the Security Council to unite and exercise that responsibility. I urge all member states to show restraint in these dangerous circumstances and to avoid any acts that could escalate the situation and worsen the suffering of the Syrian people.
This was a day before the strikes.
Yeah.
Show restraint.
Yeah. But it was literally...
Well, we didn't do that, did we?
It could be a day, it could be 6 hours. We don't know when... There isn't a time stamp because of the date.
Well, it's a day before.
It was 10 past 2 in the morning when we saw that, when the strikes went in. Something that we saw on the news.
Yeah.
So, could be the same day, could be literally hours before.
Yeah, but either way, he said, I urge all member states to show restraint.
Yeah.
That is precisely the opposite of what we've done.
Exactly, yeah. RT ran a segment, Russian Today, on how to stockpile water and food and how best to survive a nuclear attack.
Who ran the article, sorry?
Russia Today, RT.
At least they're preparing. We haven't got that.
No, that's what I mean.
Do you know that in Switzerland, since the 1960s, every new house has to be built with a nuclear bomb shelter.
Fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true?
That is true, yeah. I've seen it on a documentary.
So every shelter, every home in... Wow.
So they're prepared for nuclear war. We are.
And they're the fuckers who are going to be the most neutral in this.
Yeah.
They're going to get the gold off both sides.
And they're not even going to get fucking nuked anyway.
Wow. Yeah. And our nearest shelter's a good fucking 45-minute drive away, an hour drive away. How far is the Birmingham Gaz in a van from here?
Quickest I can get you to the centre of Birmingham with no traffic would be 45 minutes.
Now bear in mind that every single
there
car
will be a lot of traffic.
is going to try to get
it's
to the...
possibly going to take us 6 hours.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. I'm not driving to the second biggest city in England. That's a major target.
Yeah.
I'm going into Wales and the sticks and the mountains, mate.
And we have the benefit to the listener of our geographical location of the wonderful town of Telford is, yes,
the pedo capital of England,
but not us. We have on our right 45 minutes, and we're in the city centre of the second biggest city on the island in the UK. To our left, if we go 45 minutes, we are in the beautiful, stunning North Welsh countryside.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
We're sort of forgotten. I was listening to Richard Herring's podcast and he interviewed somebody fuck, I can't remember who it was, but they were from Shropshire.
That was Greg Davis, was it?
And yes, it was fucking Greg Davis.
I love
Good
Greg
shout.
Davis.
From
He's fucking
Ludlow,
awesome.
isn't not Ludlow.
Shrewsbury.
Wem.
Just outside of Shrewsbury, yeah, Wem.
So he was talking about, and Richard Herring's like sort of needling him and taking the piss. Like, Shropshire's not a real place. Like that sounds made up. And to the rest of the country, it is with this sort of forgotten little, the country of Wales. You come out of Wales, right, and you get to Birmingham, but in between. There's this gorgeous county called Shropshire where we live, which just happens to have a shithole city in the middle of it.
And was the inspiration for the Shire in Lord of the Rings.
Yes. I've heard that before.
The rolling green hills of Shropshire, the farmland, the hedges.
Yeah.
So that's our choice, isn't it? The nukes are coming. We've got our choice. To the right of us, we go to the city. To the left of us, we go to the wilderness, to the sticks, to the mountain. Literally the mountains.
Yeah.
Why are you thinking left to the mountains, Mike? Less radiation, less people?
It's less targets.
Less targets. Yeah, remember,
well, I'm saying after the
you
strike comes, after the strike hits.
Where's it hitting?
I don't know.
Birmingham, probably.
Why Birmingham?
It's part of Backbone, which is...
Wouldn't London be?
London, Birmingham and...
London be number one, yeah.
London, that's what I'm saying. Hit London, we'll be alright.
Birmingham's number two.
No, it's London, Birmingham and Manchester, known as Backbone. And because it's a triangle shape, it goes from London to Birmingham. I'm reminding this. Goes up the country and then it forms like a triangle. So it's called Backbone, and that is where the major telecommunications hubs in this country are. So the government would have to communicate with the rest of the country. It's got Backbone.
Plus our lovely...
so whatever happens, there'll always be a radio transmitter.
But
within, if we
Telford would be a target.
I was going to say, our lovely town of Telford, we've got one of the biggest fucking
you live in Donington nowadays, don't you?
And
I live there. So.
You live in Donington now.
Yeah, right by it now,
Massive, second biggest, was the second biggest logistics base in the country. Does have a massive underground network.
Yeah.
So I hear,
RAF Cosford.
allegedly. RAF Cosford's our frontline base, it can't take fast jets.
So it wouldn't be a target.
It would probably not. It's a training base, or it can't take jets.
Well,
Donington, because my brother worked there, he got an apprentice there for years. So all I know is they repair things,
and
they
teach people.
Yeah, things come in, it gets repaired and sent back out, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's quite an important.
It is, but it's probably a secondary target. But
still,
even so,
it's on the fucking doorstep.
Yeah, it is on the doorstep.
And if the nuke hits Birmingham, we might not be fucked for a few weeks, but we are fucked.
Yeah, 50 miles away-ish.
I don't know, hang on.
60?
Yeah. Let's say it takes a major...
I think maybe less than that.
If it takes a major nuclear strike, like I said, the windows would be gone and we'd probably be blind.
From the strike in Birmingham?
From the strike in Birmingham, yeah. The windows would be gone. If we weren't blinded, we'd certainly be shredded by flying glass. And then we would have to suffer... weeks of fallout. So it's into Mike's broom cupboard, which he's been fortifying with stored mattresses from the skip.
I've not been dragging soiled mattresses into my flat. Not anymore since the court order.
Chicken in a bucket. We probably have to eat the cat, or if we die, the cat's going to eat us.
So we're fucked.
Yeah. Your average pleb is... We're plebs, let's face it. Your average pleb is pretty fucked.
That's not going to happen now, is it? It won't get to that stage.
It could happen very easily. I'll give you a scenario.
Okay.
You've got... Let's say that one strike isn't enough. They've said that's probably going to be it. Unless there's another chemical attack, and which... We think, I'm certainly on board with it. It could certainly be a false flag by Britain or the West. And let's ask you. So, Mike, what do you reckon? Do you think there's a chance this could be a false flag from the West to escalate a money spinning war?
I think it's a blatant false flag. The precedent's there, man. Fuck me. Gulf of Tonkin, false flag.
Yeah, Operation Northwoods.
Was
documented false flag. Yeah. Documented potential false flag.
Radio controlled jetliners.
WMD, false flag.
Yeah.
Kuwait, Gulf War, false flag. The babies weren't taken out of the fucking...
No, they weren't. They weren't bayoneted in incubators.
And she was an actress. Wasn't
Yeah.
She was a Kuwaiti ambassador's daughter.
Yeah,
And
we're referencing for this.
And the past... yeah, go on, sorry.
So,
The
for
First
that
World War.
war, there was a little girl who stood on the stands,
Yeah.
didn't she, and talked about the
She
horrors.
was meant
and
to be a
things.
nurse
Yeah.
who got out to the hospital.
She was a
Yeah.
fucking actor.
Well, she was the daughter of the Kuwaiti ambassador.
Yeah. So, Gaz, what do you
And
think?
the past
mate?
two Syrian attacks, gas attacks, they've been proved wrong.
Yeah.
I fucking believe a word they say anymore.
My opinion is, I feel like I've fallen into a time war, right? Because around
Let's
two,
do the
time
time
warp
warp
again.
Oh my God, we're so fucking middle-aged.
We'll not start doing
We're-
the moves in a minute.
We're
It's just a jump to the left.
We're like almost like being fucking embarrassing uncles at a fucking wedding at this point.
Good, do.
No, never see that in my presence.
I honestly
Fucking,
feel
like fucking uncles at a wedding. Oh, with that age group, it's fucking
we
terrible.
are. But
Yeah.
around 2002 to 2004 was when I was becoming awoken. I was a student at uni, and the Iraq War, the WWE.
It was massive. It was that era.
I loved
Let's
it.
crack it on.
Loved it. The WMDs, all that stuff, the million people marching in the streets, right? That's when my conspiracy quote, I'm doing the quote marks, listener, or according to the Sun, internet troll
Yeah.
brain started to wake up a little bit, and I was like, hang on, this is a bit obvious, isn't it? That they got oil and stuff that we want, and they're telling us these things, WMDs, and then other people are proving that was bullshit, but they're sticking to it. It's all a bit obvious, isn't it? I don't need a tinfoil hat. They're over there for the money, and isn't the world shit? I'm going to do some drugs. What's the difference? That was fucking 15 years ago. Well, no, not quite.
It was,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, it was 2003 they measured
Yeah,
Iraq.
fucking hell, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
15
years.
fucking years ago. It's the same, what you've explained to me tonight is the same fucking story.
Forever war.
There you go, we've heard that quote before, haven't we?
Yeah.
It is literally perpetual money-making war. Oil, gas.
That's why we need to smash capitalism.
Because eventually, the only way you win a war, you can't win a war to the air. You've got to put boots on the ground, and that involves tanks, it involves uniforms, it involves boots, it involves ammunition, it involves weapons.
A lot of money.
And all that money. I mean, a Tomahawk cruise missile cost.
And
the single
someone's
one is
selling
£1
all
million.
that shit.
The British, I think it's the Storm Shadow missile, the bunker buster thing, the latest one we've got, is 800 grand a pop.
Fucking
Every single, I said before, every single British air mission of a tornado is £504,000. Now we've got children living in Victorian levels of poverty. We've cut free school meals. The NHS is on its arse. The welfare state is apparently everyone on the welfare state is a scrounger and doesn't deserve help.
But they can't.
But you can blow that kind of money
Of course.
on a war.
Because
And
you've
anyone
set
around the
to gain.
globe who's got anything similar in their country, and I'm sure you have in America and even New Zealand, anywhere austerity is in, you can afford to do this as a country. You can afford to spend that money on something that doesn't even fucking involve you and that you may have set up in the first place.
Can we put a pin just for a
Yeah.
sec? Sorry, guys.
But
And give me your take.
I've already done it.
Yeah,
I'm
I think we're done, really.
Yeah, I've just
I'm
got
done
one more.
for
I've
this,
got a coup de grace to give.
Oh yeah, that was it.
Right, boys, we are back, and I will give you the final piece on this. This is my little coup de grace that says that we were certainly a hand in this attack.
Finn Balor's finishing move from the WWE.
That's the one.
Yeah, the coup de grace.
This is from Sky News. Our good friend Rupert Murdoch owns that, and The Sun, and all the other pieces we've read from the 16th of July 2013.
Wow.
We arranged to sell £12 billion worth of military sales. That's not equipment, that's sales.
What does that mean?
That can be everything under the military scope.
like a cop-out term.
Could be a
sort of
rifle,
thing.
could be a chemical agent.
Oh, for
who
fuck's
knows?
sake. Could be a dog tag. Could
Syria.
be a missile.
And it did include industrial materials, which also was included was sodium fluoride, which, yes, is an ingredient in toothpaste, but should you add the right other chemicals to it, you can make chemical weapons. And if you remember right, when I said at the start, it was acid in that.
Yeah.
It's the same shit, basically, in that. So, yeah.
So this is an article
So
boasting that,
2013,
hey, we've done some sales.
In the invasion of Iraq, when we were invading Iraq, we were selling chemical weapons to Syria. Or chemicals that could be the precursors to chemical weapons.
Now, that is some serious forward planning. Let's be fair. I mean, it's horrific, but fair play. I guess.
Because we knew we'd squash
sell them the chemicals, then
thing is,
say, oh, they got chemical weapons. We got to bomb them.
yeah,
So-
but it was go to 2003.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to squash the Iraqis.
Yeah.
Right? We had superiority in everything: weapons, technology, air
What was
power.
it that Billick said? He said,
I was literally about to quote. He says,
I know you'd know.
so Bill, he's quoting a movie, but he does a sort of impression of it. He's like, I'm sick of us going around arming the world. It's like, we're like that guy from that movie, and he quotes an old cowboy movie, but then does the impression. Basically, the thing is, you go up to the little guy, and you're like, and you put a gun in front of him, and you say, pick up the gun. And the guy says, I don't want it, mister. I don't know if I should pick up the gun. Oh, I don't know. Goes to pick up the gun. Poof, poof, poof. You all saw him. He had a gun.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Billick's, man.
Oh, God bless you, Bill. You were...
Alex Jones now though.
He's a prophet. Joe Rogan asked him about that.
He
flat
didn't
out
answer.
to his face. Yeah, and he went, oh, because Alex is a professional. And he fucking knows he's making money off of that fucking
So he didn't give a definitive answer.
Did he fuck? And he...
As much as I hate that fucker, and I will fight him one day and tell Dory's own home. Still waiting for your reply, Alex.
God,
Still waiting for your reply.
Please start training Ben.
Yeah.
Please.
I am.
He's in shape.
Trust me.
Well, no, he's not that in shape. I mean,
No, but I mean...
after half an hour, he's going to be fucked. And he,
Exactly.
But can you last the first few minutes?
That's
He's a
what
big
I'm saying. Half an hour. Can you...
Look.
Do me a favour when you get home. Try and hold your hands up here.
Yeah.
For more than 5 minutes.
I can do that.
To the listener, I'm holding my hands up in a defensive boxing position. You can't. It's harder than you think.
Look, trust me. I can take Alex.
Oh God, please stop training. Anybody in the local area who would like to train Ben for his fight with Alex, please, because I'll be in your corner. I don't want you to
both
lose.
in my corner.
I don't want you to lose. I'm just worried it's going to be like. I don't
You're
know.
a hype man.
Fuck that, I'm with Alex Jones. I want that gravy train.
You're going to be like, cut me, Gaz.
There we go. Now I'm finally gonna unleash a southpaw and go for it.
Just go full reptile on him.
Yeah, I'm not a reptile.
Bite his neck out. It'll be ironic. It'll be beautiful. I'm not even a lizard, Alex. As the blood fucking...
No.
Anyway, Alex.
Sorry.
It's on.
We love you, Alex.
I don't know.
Weird news.
Weird news. Let's finish on a high.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure there's some fucking shenanigans going on. I don't think you have to be. You're not, according to the Sun, an internet troll.
Like
Or
what was that fucking Norwegian metal guy's name who thought he was a troll? Oh God.
Fuck, I'm blank.
Mike. Oh, someone help me out.
Yeah, I know.
He thought he was a troll. He'd troll him out.
Mortis.
Mortis. He lives in a
There you
fucking cave. You're Mortis if you believe what anyone else with the Sun is telling you.
How dare you question the official narrative? But we have, and I think I didn't listen to any news. I knew nothing of this, and in a couple of hours, I'm convinced. We know this, like I said, time warp.
Well, why
We've been
didn't
here
you-
before.
Yeah,
Mike
yeah.
said it too. We've been here before.
Theresa May didn't get Parliament's approval. She couldn't wait till Monday. Probably because Trump came out 2 days earlier and said, yeah, those missiles are going to be new and smart.
When you go to work Monday, Ben, try implementing a new system or something without seeking anyone above you's approval.
Just, I management, I can go.
No, you can't. To a point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, junior management.
Yeah, he was okay.
Go in and start changing things. Make a fucking big company changing decision. Do something radical.
Yeah.
Without seeking anyone's approval Monday. And see what your job prospects are like on Tuesday.
Exactly. If I went in on Monday, went, right, you and you can go home without even looked at what was on for the night, or how much staff we had. If I could send 4 people home, I think I'd be sacked.
Go on, it'll be alright, it's my decision. And then, what were you doing, Ben?
Yeah.
Hey, Ben!
It's alright. They had WMDs. Sent them home.
They were suicide bombers. I sent all the Muslims home.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually, I just want to say to the guys, because we were due to discuss something else, and this was brought up, and because I hadn't watched the news, I was like, oh, fuck no, I don't want to know what to say, or I won't. It's been really fucking interesting. Incredibly depressing, very depressing, but also, you know, like I said earlier, it's a double fucking edged sword living in the bubble like I do. Because, yes, I'm happy, and I'm not depressed by things I can't change and I have no power of, but I should, if I consider myself to be a decent citizen, I should know what my fucking government's up to, shouldn't I? And I should have an opinion on it, and you should question. You've got to.
Otherwise, these shits get away with it again and again.
Yeah, you've
Look
got
at
to
Boris
question.
Johnson came out and said, yeah, it's Russia. It's Russia.
If you're taking his word for it, we're fucking nuclear war now.
This is it. We would, I mean...
How anyone takes
film.
that fucker seriously? How's he got a job?
It's called The Sum of All Fears. You ever seen
Yeah,
that movie?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
And it's the escalation of nuclear war between Russia and America played out by a third party who, you know, he smuggles a dirty bomb into America. They make him think it's Russian. They have a flashpoint, the nuclear bombers in the air. The Russians have sunk a US aircraft carrier. I mean, and in the end, Ben Affleck saves the day because he's Ben Affleck.
Of course.
But, you know, what if the Russian response to this is to sink? What if a missile gets hit by anti-aircraft fire, skews off course and hits a Russian base and kills military people, military personnel? They've got to respond to that. And what if their response is to sink a US carrier in the Mediterranean?
Yeah,
then you've got a flashpoint.
it.
Then you've got nuclear bombers in the air. Then you've got aircraft from all over.
Everything's going to
NATO versus the US. NATO versus Russia.
Because I can remember.
You've got an issue. This can quickly. The reason it can very quickly spiral out.
Because this is a vivid memory I have. I'll never ever forget this. So 9/11. I was still at New College in Telford, and I'll never forget this moment. Because did you go to New College?
I did, but I was at work when 9/11 happened.
Well, there was a lady who worked there who was like the secretary. She was in the office. She wasn't a teacher. She was in the office. I don't know her name, but I would recognise her face if I ever saw her again. She was literally walking through the corridor. She had the canteen to your right.
Yeah.
I was walking down a corridor. She'd come out of her office, flustered and upset, and she said, "Now this shows you how reports are conflicted in the early." She says to me, America's under attack. They've attacked the White House. They've crashed planes into the White House. And she was upset. And I remember, I'll never forget this. My thought at age 17 straight away was World War III. We're fucked. You don't attack America. Oh, God. It's done. And I remember that feeling of being just like, oh, fuck, the world's changed, man. You don't attack America. That's bad. So it would be the same feeling again if I wake up tomorrow and I see on Facebook whether the Russians have sunk, like you said, sinking an aircraft carrier with however many personnel on board.
I think you know 5,000 for a US carrier.
Well, you know it's a game changer, don't you? You know
it's one of an aircraft carrier to the United States is like the bastion of their defence.
Yeah.
I mean, these things can just park off the shore 50 miles away and just fly hundreds of sorties, carrying nuclear weapons if they want to. They're nuclear powered. They can sit there for years if they have to. All these constant, just bring in the air, just bring in the resupply.
We're fucked.
Them things can sit there for and we've launched the Queen Elizabeth II, nuclear powered aircraft carrier. Got no planes to fly off it yet.
That's so British.
So British. But you know. That's if you were to sink one of them, that is, I think they've got like 14 of them, something like that. And they are bastions of US defence. They build one for every president. Eventually, there'll probably be a USS Donald Trump.
No.
Because there's already a USS George W. Bush.
Isn't this weird now? I watched a hilarious, charming little interview with our friend Georgie Bush on either Jimmy Kimmel or one of those late night comedy happy. Out he came, hey, because he's a painter in his spare time, and he's painted a book of portraits of our servicemen and women.
The ones he sent to death in
The
Iraq.
ones he sent to death. And there he is, doing some jokes, doing some laughs, like he's your regular celebrity. And wow, come on, because that guy was the devil when I was 17.
Do you remember when we didn't think, we thought Bush was the worst we could get?
I genuinely
a golden
miss
time
Bush.
now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I miss him. I do like one of my favourite
that
Bush
fight, he
stories.
was still a fucking evil bastard.
You know what the worst of it is? Even though the Obama presidency killed shitloads of people, it was like, oh, Obama's in now. We're going to be stable for a bit.
The
we
US have
really
not had a
droned
decent
more.
president since FDR.
But the system's fucked, though, is it? They can't have a good
No.
one. Again, sorry to bring it up again, Ben, but I do think you'd appreciate this. Another Bill Hicks little bit is...
No, I like what I had to say, I just don't find it particularly funny.
That, and do you know what? It's a bang-on kind of summation of him, because was he the funniest comedian? Probably not. But he was more like a political...
Like George Carlin.
And people didn't do it back then, though. Even in his time, people didn't use stand-up to say the things he was saying.
Can I ask you a question? Have you ever seen The Hitch? Alex Hitchens,
no.
The famous atheist. Oh, watch him, boys. You know, seen him. Go on, sorry, go on, Les.
But he says about the presidents. So you're someone like I don't know. You're a president. And you've got all these ideals and you think, I've been voted in. I'm going to make changes, and they take you to a dark room. Okay, they sit you down, a bit like A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Sit you down, take your eyes open, and show you the footage of them. Not the footage you've seen, but they show you the footage of them killing JFK.
Yeah.
Then the footage stops and the lights come on, and you as the president say, "Okay, so what's my policy?"
Yeah.
You know, it's like no president can get in and do. Obama, I cried. I fucking cried. I'm not American or black, but I watched his inauguration speech and fucking cried.
It was a moment of hope, wasn't it?
Because I felt like the things had changed. We've had all this Bush and like this guy, and it's a black president, and things that are opening up.
And the irony of it is, he was worse than fucking Bush.
Because he's got no choice. Because like we said, they take him to the dark room, and the president is nothing. The president is a figurehead.
It's a puppet, yeah.
Like. It will never change. And then take
but
it
you
back
need
to
someone
our
with
country.
values, like hopefully Sanders, who would go in there and say, "Look, well, you know, I'm going to implement what the people want." FDR did it in the 40s.
Get shot in the head, though.
And FDR survived.
He did. He had polio.
In his wheelchair. Maybe they gave him.
Well, he had polio all his life. He was
born with polio. I don't really know.
They weren't born with it, but he contracted it in later.
Okay.
Well, the polio vaccine, which is a anti-vax thing.
That's why we need to get control of the levers of power.
Because I was going to say, to bring it back to our country, let's say, old Jeremy Corbyn. Let's say he gets in. How much change can he truly...
Yeah. Unless he gets a majority government, he ain't going to change that much.
If he gets a majority government, then we're laughing.
Exactly. But if he doesn't...
Because isn't that what happened...
he can do.
Isn't that what happened to Obama in a way where, like... So if you're not the majority, like, you... Every policy
Obama
you do has
the
to
majority.
be voted on.
That's the fucked up thing.
But America works weirdly, doesn't it? In their
they
has
have
to go through Congress
and the Senate.
so.
Yeah, but if you own the House and the Senate, which they did at the time, you can push through what you want.
Yeah.
Right.
And they could have pushed through universal health care, but they didn't. Instead, they gave them
down.
Romney care. No, because the Democrats are corporate motherfuckers, just like Republicans.
All of them. There's
no difference.
The and that's one thing, I brought him up a few times today, and I want the listener to know I'm not necessarily a David Icke convert. But the problem, and we've said this time and time again.
Did you read the entire book?
I'm about halfway through, because the thing is, I've picked in and out of it using the index for stuff.
Oh, I got you, yeah.
But I've never actually sat and read the fucker as a piece, because, it's difficult. He's not the best writer.
So was some bloke down the pub who told me this.
He's not the best writer in the world, bless him. But my point is, he says, the problem with him is he says truths that you can see discredits himself, because he is the one. He explained to me personally, but it was a David Icke video I watched where it is simple, but when you think about it, it's absolutely true, where he just explained basically the two political parties, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
They all answer to the same.
Absolutely, yeah.
And he's like, all this partisan politics that you get wrapped up in is utterly pointless.
Well, yeah. Well, Boris is saying it's Russia in this scenario, but he's taken 30 grand off a Russian what's the word? Oligarch. Can never remember that word. Oligarch. 30 grand off him to play tennis with him and his wife. You're in their pocket. What are you doing?
That's why Corbyn's a bit different, because he's a backbencher rebel.
Yeah,
we know that though,
from his voting record.
But look how he's been vilified.
Oh, exactly.
He's the only guy who came out and said, you know what? Maybe let's not blame Russia. Let's wait and see. Yeah. And that should be the attitude.
Of course it should.
You know, any sane person goes, you know what? Oh, there's been this horrific attack on this guy. It's a chemical attack. It's a terrorist attack on Britain. All right. Well, you know what? What we should do before we leap to these conclusions, start sending
cooler heads prevail.
And start sending our pilots who, you know, they're not necessarily evil people. Those people doing a job. They're sort of, to potentially go and die in this situation, but to bomb potentially civilians. Let's wait and see who's responsible. Now that is the saner voice, isn't it? Let's wait and see.
Of course it is.
But no, he's been vilified for that, to the point where even the BBC even photoshopped a fucking Russian hat onto him.
No,
I mean, your average. I mean, there's a Mirror article up as we speak, and the average Sun voter thinks he's the fucking Communist Party incarnate.
Not so much the Mirror, because it's left wing.
Nah, even the
Sun, yeah.
He's a commie traitor. He's a traitor. He's a commie traitor. Oh, fuck off! What point you get? What point does it start thinking of your fucking self? Thing is, I had someone at work said to me, "Oh, he's a fucking Czech spy." I just went, hang on. Due to his position in the government, he's the leader of the opposition. He sits on the Privy Council, right? That is like basically the leader of the opposition, the leader of the country, and several members of both parties sit there, and it's like a royal council, and you have to get onto that, right? Yeah. You have to be security checked up the fucking backside.
I would imagine so.
Yeah, because he's a Czech spy. Might pull out a fucking Czech-made Russian pistol and shoot the prime minister.
Well, they weren't saying he was a Czech spy now. They were saying he was a Czech spy in the 80s.
Oh right.
But when he was a backbencher and he had no power whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know. What does he know?
Yeah.
He knows shit all.
Yeah. So, but he now sits on the Privy Council. So to get on that, unless you're sort of Boris and you're having tennis matches with Russian billionaires, you have to be security checked at the backside.
Yeah.
So why would you, if you were a Czech spy in the 80s and MI5 knew about it, then you ain't getting on that council, are you?
But we know that this is a thing that a sort of conflict I always come to doing this pod is like, we're not hyper intelligent, super intelligent.
Oh God, no. We're
not three normal.
Apart from Mike, who's a science officer.
You know,
being physics.
But we can see through the obviousness of all of this, of how it's obvious smearing. But why? But like the running joke is like my mum, for example, your mum, for example.
My dad, especially.
They take what they are told as absolute gospel, and it's just not in their mental makeup to question it. And then
because they've not been exposed to the other side. We've got the internet.
Yeah, that's what gives me hope.
Yeah.
Is that as evil as Facebook might be, and he's on the stands as we...
you mean Lieutenant Commander Data?
Yeah.
Because he does look...
he does look like an android. Yeah.
Oh, man. I posted the one thing on the Facebook page where his skull-faced alien from Brody Piper's film. What's it called now?
They Live.
They Live, of course. Past episodes, go check it out.
But like the thing is that we can see that we have an understanding somehow, whether it's our generation, our intelligence, our social, I don't know what it is, or just what we're interested in, but somehow we, the three of us sat here, and many others, have a sort of innate understanding that this is spin.
I'd say about a third of the population.
Spin works. And I just wish, because I think that what I was going to say is with Facebook, the one good thing that might come of Facebook is that people are starting to see, oh, this is one side of this is absolute shit.
It's like that Sky News.
Well, what we played earlier,
and you said it went viral.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. When that's
definitely.
What
educating
I've
the people
as well is that people, I sort of read like various comment posts. I don't necessarily comment, but I read them, and someone will come out with a comment completely opposed the article, and someone will always say, "Yeah, fucking Russian troll." Or it's a Russian bot. You know, and it's blatantly obvious that someone somewhere is big. That doesn't even. Why are you subscribed to this particular feed for a start? Unless you're looking. Well, the best way to find out what is a bot and what isn't is if they actually reply to their comments. You make a statement, you end up with 106 comments all calling them a cunt,
and they haven't come back. Yeah. It's
so they do exist.
It's scary with the bots, man. I've clicked on a few. I've noticed it with the cutting through the bull at the post-truth apocalypse. Fuck, I fucked up the name. Sorry, man. Cutting through the bull in the post-truth apocalypse on Facebook.
Now you see what I have to go through every week.
Well, we're building up. we're building up a little community, aren't we? But I've noticed I've clicked on a few likes that we've had.
Oh, I do every single one.
Clicked on one. And then looked at the profile and gone, I don't look like a real profile to me.
Yeah.
And then other ones straight away like, oh yeah, obviously that is a fucking real profile. And we're at the fucking low end of the fucking totem pole. So like, it's terrifying. But it is. I do think, like I said earlier, I hadn't watched any news. Completely avoided all of this. Everything I'd seen had been memes on Facebook. But the memes all seem to be of the same. Variation of the same thing of our government doesn't have money for free school meals for children, but our government does have money for bombs being dropped on foreign countries.
Well, that could be our own echo chamber, couldn't it?
Yes, that is true of the algorithm on Facebook. But at least it is people. At least people are thinking that way. Now, bearing in mind, like you've just kind of hit the nail on the head there, Mike. If I was a more right-wing person, all my posts and friends and things that I'm exposed to on Facebook would be of that nature, so they might be pro the strikes. So it would be interesting to maybe, if you can tomorrow, Ben, at work, find a right-wing friend and say, oh, can I have a look on your Facebook? Or just try and spy while he's scrolling.
It shouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah. Everyone's on it 24/7 whenever they get a chance, so just look over someone's shoulder and see what are they seeing some... pro-striking stuff.
They all read the Sun. The Sun's out at lunchtime. Have you seen this? Have you seen it? I'm just sat there thinking, God.
It's hard, isn't it?
You try and point out, well, that's wrong. Well, that's not right.
Are we going to move on then? Have we finished?
Yeah, sorry guys. I think...
We are done, we're not claiming to be people who are so politically informed that our judgment is infallible. We are not, by any stretch of imagination. But this is what... Literally, Mike and I have found on the internet in the last 48 hours that all of a sudden is like, well, you know what? This isn't right. This isn't what's happening. And it's almost like they're panicking a little bit because they know.
It'll be interesting to see
what's power's slipping.
Yeah.
What's in the headlines tomorrow.
We've got council elections coming up in the UK across May the 5th. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Because if this has worked, we'll have a lot of Tory councillors. And if it hasn't,
hopefully we'll have a lot of Labour.
We'll have a lot of Labour councillors. And you know what?
Fuck Lucy Allen.
Oh God,
I'm not the most political person, but if you're a listener of ours, do us a favour.
Give me a debate, Lucy Allen. I'm willing to debate with you.
Go on Twitter.
I'll
find
challenge
Lucy
anyone.
Allen MP and tell her she's a cunt from the boys from the apocalypse.
That's not allegedly.
tell us she's allegedly a cunt. Either way, just fuck her. She can't win. Everyone hates her, don't they?
Well, she had a
What's the
majority of
vote back in?
something like 720 in the last.
Is that a lot in a town?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a very.
That's
In fact,
Yeah.
in all fairness, with that kind of majority, our the Labour candidate, sorry, our candidate, try and remain slightly impartial. The Labour candidate should have probably called for a recall on it.
But he
It's
was
that
probably threatened with the murder of his children or something like
Allegedly.
that.
Remember that allegedly is the catchphrase of the show.
Okay, bit of weird news.
Okay, bit of weird news
Let's
to
do
finish
it.
off.
Let's do it.
2 women ate genitals, eyes and cheeks of dead relative whose corpse was awaiting burial.
Why are you eating the genitals, eyes and cheeks of anybody's relative? Oh.
The horrifying claim was made in the village of Ndangara in Zimbabwe, and 2 suspects face a court hearing.
Oh, man. If that picture's true, then it looks like your typical UKIP version of Africa, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice.
Couple
It's
of
a
mud huts
stock
and-
photo, isn't it?
Just stock, could be a stock photo.
2 women allegedly removed body parts from a dead relative in order to eat them.
No,
Was this a religious or a voodoo thing? Or... No, I didn't mean that in a bad way. I meant the ritual.
No, voodoo's cool.
But I
You
wasn't
say
being
voodoo.
racist. I wasn't saying all Africans are into voodoo.
No.
I'm-
Well, to be fair, this is pretty occultesque. I
That's
think
what-
it's
that's what I was
justified
trying
in
to
saying
say.
voodoo.
That's what I was trying to
It is
say.
alleged that the 2 women were sleeping in the kitchen hut where the body of their deceased relative was kept awaiting burial. They ordered fellow relatives to switch off the lights. It is alleged that the 2 women then removed eyes, cheek and private parts from their relative's body.
Wow. There has to be some kind of ritual, isn't it? Those specific parts. Because you're going to eat it, you take the buttocks, the rump.
Yeah, that's a good bit of meat, or they're just absolute.
And apparently the
perverts.
2 women have blamed each other, and that's all we've got on the news.
She made me do it.
She told me to eat his arse.
She told her to jump off a cliff. Well,
Yeah.
if she convinced me to eat an arse, a dead arse.
But you'd do the rump, wouldn't you? Let's face it.
Yeah.
It's every steak you ever beat, 9 times out of 10 you go to a restaurant, the steak is rump.
I mean, we don't know how poor these people were. Were they in a famine?
You still take the rump, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you take the rump, yeah.
Yeah, they're not.
I have to hazard a guess. Yeah, the rump of any
I
human.
wouldn't go
being
straight
is
for the
gonna be
bollocks.
Apparently, human flesh tastes like pork.
Oh, well, I could see that. I imagine it being sort of porky in texture.
With mammals,
I mean, you've cut yourself open. You've seen a bit inside. It looks like raw beef, doesn't it? A bit. Or...
No, it's any kind of raw meat.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Gaz has been
I'm
self-harming
gonna
to an
cook my
extent.
finger. I'm gonna go home and cook my finger and let you know.
What else you got then? You got one more?
Couple
Yeah,
more.
full Alex.
Yeah, bionic contacts, goodbye glasses, hello vision. That's 3 times better than 2020.
Oh, is it fucking zooming in on shit? That's fantastic.
It's coming, so it'll be what, a contact lens that is like literally computerized and like zooming in.
Soon, cataracts may be a thing of the past, and even better, it may be possible to see a staggering 3 times better than 2020 vision. Oh, and you could do it all without wearing glasses or contacts.
Without wearing them.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So if you can read text that is 10 feet away, you'll be able to read the same text from 30 feet.
Wow.
The development comes thanks to the Ocumetrics bionic lens. This dynamic lens essentially replaces a person's natural eye lens. It's placed into the eye via a saline-filled syringe, after which it unravels itself under 10 seconds.
Wow.
Fucking hell, that's like Terminator shit.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
So how long before you're implanting that in soldiers to link up with their weapon
100% accuracy.
so they make it 100% accuracy?
Yeah, literally, your weapon
You link
aligns
your weapon,
itself with
your eye.
Yeah. So
And
until the two
kill
go
shot.
green and then it's bang shot.
Yeah.
Oh.
How long till that happens?
Well, apparently they'll be available
Wow.
public in March 2018. That was last month.
Oh, well, I'll see.
Well,
Yeah.
what's the rule though? Is it like what comes to the public, the military's already had for
10 years.
you know?
Well,
So they're probably already on the battlefields. Well,
Yeah.
battlefields, streets of Middle Eastern villages.
Well, what the thing is, you see, what of the top of the alpha chain of special forces, your SAS, your oh god, what do you mean, the Delta Force, the Mossads, what have they got? I mean, they have got literally the cutting edge of everything we've got. They've got that. I mean, even into body armour, contact lenses that display targets. Anyone that hasn't got that implant doesn't show up as shows up as red rather than green on your gun sight. I mean,
it's also heads-up display.
Yeah, heads-up display. A Halo-style heads-up display in your eye.
On the positive, no more cataracts.
So people will be able to see their books of word searches as they sit lonely, decaying.
My nan had cataracts. My nan had cataracts, and she when she went to the doctor and admittedly said, I don't see so well. They couldn't find her records because she hadn't been to the doctor since 1954.
What a woman!
This was 1990 something.
What a woman!
We couldn't find your records because you haven't been here for 50 years. She'd never gone to the doctor.
That's amazing.
And she eventually, I was like, she used to bump into furniture. I was like, Nan, are you sure you can see all right? Yeah, I'm fine. But you really can't. You're bumping into the sideboard repeatedly. It was literally that comical where she was.
Oh, bless her.
She
was
like,
a racist soul.
Yeah, she was like, oh no, she was like, she wash her hands in bleach as she was at the Asian shop.
Can we have a pee break?
Yeah,
I need to pee on my hands.
But genuinely,
because I went to a Sikh religious festival.
Genuinely, guys, right, before you go, there's an Asian owned shop down the road.
Yeah.
And if she had to go there for something, she would come back, fill the sink halfway with sort of water, tip in a bit of bleach, and wash her hands.
Well, you know, they're a different generation.
They were. She thought she was unsanitary. That was yeah. So anyway, pee break.
I'm gonna pee on my hands. That could be a new segment.
Full
Instead
Trump
of full Alex, full Trump.
Right. So should we go full Trump? One more news.
Official Washington flocking to doomsday camps.
Oh man, we're apocalyptic this episode. A building network of backwoods doomsday camps around the county are pulling in members from affluent areas. Are pulling in members from affluent areas, and even Washington national security officials, as the threats grow from nuclear war, an EMP, or virus attack.
Fuck it up.
Quote, we're seeing members from all three letter agencies, said Fortitude creator Drew Miller, a retired Air Force colonel and intelligence officer. In reference to the Central Intelligence Agency, Defense Intelligence Agency, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. So he's saying that the three most powerful agencies in America for law enforcement and anti-terrorism, their members are flocking to this guy.
Yeah.
To get in the
Fortitude Ranch, which promises protection and a year's supply of food for those unable to build their own bunker.
Yeah.
But I bet you have to pay to get in.
Of course you do, yeah. Oh, hang on. So it says
through memberships and his own cryptocurrency called Fortitude, Miller has raised about $400,000 and established a ranch in West Virginia and Colorado with 10 others planned.
Wow.
Most members are professional Washington area folks, so they know something that the rest of the people don't.
So it's a
so
franchise.
And they can afford it.
This is Kingsman.
It's a franchise.
You're rich and you're elite, so get that little chip in their brain that stops their mobile phones from killing each other, and off you go in the bunker. Everyone else is gonna die. You'll be fine.
They're franchising bunkers, basically, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, we could set one up, guys.
We could, but we're going to need a bunker.
The Telford Nuclear Survival Club. We've just started it.
There we go, yeah.
This
Anyone that's in Telford wants to get themselves into a bunker. There's some mine shafts around this area. They've been closed off.
Hey, there you go.
It's a mining community back in the day.
We could get
We
that
could
out.
reinforce an old mine shaft, put a massive steel... If we get the money, put a big steel door in front of it, fill it with food and water. Boom, there you go. We'll last a year for so many people.
I'm still right.
And it'll be 25 grand each, boys. So there you go. Anyone that's interested, send me, Gaz and Mike, 25 grand. But I've We'll get one going.
Doesn't this sound a bit like my cult?
Oh, yeah, you're a...
No!
For which I was shit on quite a lot.
No!
You're asking for money.
This is nuclear survival.
I was selling spiritual development. What's the difference?
Because spiritual development won't keep you safe in the event of a nuclear holocaust.
A good point, well made.
Thank you, Guru Vincent. As the nuclear blast wave hits you, it's not going to save you, is it? But
consider your insignificance, children of the atom.
But a concrete reinforced with steel doors blast shelter with enough food and water to last you a year is a damn sight better investment than your £2.50 manifesto, my friend.
That's a better sell, I have to admit. It pains me to do so. But I have to admit that it's a better option.
We progressed your cult.
Now we've moved on from the cult now. I'm writing fan fiction now. Not erotic fan fiction. Yet.
He did explain this to us earlier.
No, I'm not going to go into it yet. But so, right. Are we going to
finish now on a bit of
full
Never
Alex?
Go Full Alex?
Yeah.
Full Alex.
Again, if it's your first episode, the game is we're going to play you 2 clips. One from our dearly beloved Alex Jones.
I wouldn't say dearly beloved.
Who Ben's going to fight at Dawley Town Hall.
One day.
Date to be confirmed.
Tell him, listeners. Tell him up for it. I'm clicking my knuckles as we speak.
Hashtag Ben versus
Alex.
WrestleMania 35. Let's do this shit.
I'm good for that.
In a steel cage.
Steel cage.
So essentially,
what's the TNA version where they drop the weapons from the roof of the steel cage?
What do they call it? I don't know.
Oh man, that's bugging me now. Oh.
It'll come back to you.
But they drop kendo sticks and trash cans and trash can lids, and they lower the steel cage roof. It's all their weapons on it. I'm willing to do that.
Okay. You heard it here first. So we will play you 2 videos.
Oh God, I know who this is.
One is from Alex Jones, and one is from a random lunatic that Mike found on the internet.
It's Pat Robertson, isn't it? It's the ancient evangelical guy.
It is Pat Robertson. He's talking to Kellyanne Conway.
So,
oh my God, this is going insane!
So what's the game? The game is we'll listen to both videos, and us 3 here and you, the listener, we have to decide who is the more fucking batshit crazy this week.
I'm going to put my hand up and say these 2 fuckers straight away.
Is it Alex or Mike's random find of the week?
Unless Mike can trump this, I know this will be batshit insane. Let's play that shit.
Were you trying to get crazy with this, eh? Don't you know I'm loco?
You never go full Alex. So hit us with it, Mike. Who are we having first?
First of all, we have Kellyanne Conway, who was Trump's...
Can I just say I am in love with her?
Campaign
She's
manager.
really attractive for an older lady.
No, her hair looks like some kind of wig.
That's just old people hair. Look at this. She's had some surgery. Come on, let's hear what she's got to say.
Well, she says that Trump's most notable characteristic is his humility.
Alright, let's hear what Kellyanne Conway has to say. Gentlemen, compose yourselves.
Okay.
I don't know if she says it with a straight face, but...
because she's been paid a lot of money.
It's fucking Botox. That's how she said it with a straight face. She can't move.
She can't move her face at all. And Pat Robertson's the same boat.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's play the game.
Play the game.
Kellyanne, you're a sweetheart for being with us. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, sir.
Hey, listen, you were there instrumental in the campaign. You were writing some of the speeches. You were giving some of the words to speak. What's the one thing you think about Donald Trump? You've gotten to know him pretty well. What characteristic stands out in your mind?
It's one that most of the media never associate with him, and I would say it's humility. With the gravity and responsibility of being President of the United States and Commander-in-Chief of our armed forces, sir, I would say with that gravity and responsibility has come a great deal of humility. The President understands the awesomeness of this job. He understands what a dangerous world in which we live. Look what North Korea did just a few hours ago in threatening one of our greatest allies, Japan. And Look at the devastation that many people are facing here in Texas and, God forbid, and perhaps Louisiana next. And you have a president who understands that there are people in need, people who are suffering, people who are relying upon him to keep our country safe and prosperous. And there's a great deal of humility that attaches to that. I think that what's lost on many, many Americans, particularly the naysayers and the critics who seem to be working overtime these days, is that that Mr. Trump, President Trump, and his family have sacrificed mightily for him to vie for the presidency and indeed hold the presidency. Many people are motivated by power, by greed, by money, by influence, by status, by their future bankability when it comes to running for political office. But Donald Trump had all of that. He had the money, he had the status, he had the wealth, he had the bankability, he had the prestige. But he saw a greater calling, and he accepted that calling. And there's no way to really be behind me in that building every single day and make decisions that are so weighty and consequential for so many millions of people without feeling a great deal of humility.
Wow.
So Trump is a really
humble guy.
He's a humble guy.
Yeah, when he was shooting those fucking packets of toilet paper like basketballs into the crowd. It's...
Yeah, he's a humble guy. He's got no ego. He's the son of God.
I tell you, she is the biggest bullshitter I've ever known. That woman.
Wow.
And my favourite bullshitter.
I do find her attractive.
He was on my favourite bullshitter. Pat Robinson is my favourite bullshitter of all time. He trumps Alex to me. He is fantastic.
Is that the interview? Because he sounded a little bit out of it.
He is my favourite right-wing Christian bullshitter.
I'll have Pat Robinson coming up in the future episode.
Oh, fantastic! Because I can sit here and laugh my fucking balls off.
So essentially, she is saying...
Trump's a really humble guy, and the president
He
gave a lot to get the president.
I mean, he couldn't be any less humble. You know what I mean?
He's literally flaunting his unhumbleness in our faces.
He's literally, he wants to wave his dick around.
Micro penis.
In his mind, it's a massive penis.
Well, it is because he's got tiny hands.
He is waving his dick in front of the world, saying, "Look at what our missiles can do."
Oh,
and I am swaying from side to side, holding a giant penis in my hands.
Ben is literally physically miming the act of having testicles so big you can't sit still.
Yeah.
You have to continuously shift the weight just to be comfortable.
But you do rock to sleep.
He can use his own balls as a pillow.
And they're very buoyant.
They are. He'll never die in a sea ocean ocean plane crash.
It is impossible for me to drown. Literally. Okay. I cannot drown. My balls are so buoyant.
Fuck.
Okay, so let's have Alex's response.
Okay.
Well, not his response, but let's certainly have what Alex has to say.
Is Alex more mental than the last woman?
It's gonna take a bit.
This is an old one, isn't it, Mike?
It is.
Yeah,
It's
a classic Alex.
So he's more in shape when I probably possibly couldn't take him if I was.
Yeah.
Alex Jones declares war on juice boxes.
Yeah.
Bring it on, Alex. Bring it on.
We're ready, baby. Come on, Alex.
But the reason there's so many gay people now is because it's a chemical warfare operation. I have the government documents where they said they're going to encourage homosexuality with chemicals so that people don't have children. I even catch myself, Bob, drinking out of these estrogen mimickers. In fact, they'll probably say it if it's lined with it inside the plastic packaging. Oh, I wonder if this spring water, natural lime flavor I'm drinking. I know full well HEB's putting fluoride in this. Why am I drinking this? I know full well these kettle chips say that they don't have MSG, but they've got the yeast extract thing that says it's MSG. What's wrong with us? Why won't we stop? Why am I so weak? And they know that they have immersed us in this, Bob. For those watching on prisonplanet.tv, here's the inside of this juice box. And if they zoom in any more, see that thin plastic? It's got it. And I'm letting my children drink this. Well, because after you're done drinking your little juices, well, you're ready to go out and have a baby. You're ready to put makeup on. You're ready to wear a short skirt. You're ready to go, put together a garden of roses or something. You're ready to put lipstick on. Look at this.
Oh man, I just realised that I'm a little bit at the left wing Alex Jones.
I am so sorry to report, but that was quite an old Alex Jones quote.
It was.
Okay.
It was.
And can we agree that there may be a feminization of... I'm just saying, there's a lot of gender nondescript, green-haired
juice boxes.
protest. They've been... That was an
Well,
old...
we drank juice boxes.
I don't know, man.
Milk cartons, juice boxes. We've drank that.
I think
We're
Alex
not
is onto
transgender.
something.
You think that the government are putting estrogen in juice boxes in order to make people homosexual? Alright,
Well, when you say that, maybe they're homosexual.
But she was saying that Trump's really humble.
That's my... Okay.
Who's more crazy?
Let's be realistic here. The statement that Trump is a humble person is more mental than the statement that the government are making you gay with Jews.
I agree with that.
Yeah, you're actually right.
Yeah.
It's like, Alex is insane enough on his own. But when you make a comment about a character like President Trump, Donnie, that he's a really humble guy. He's the biggest egomaniac on the fucking planet.
He's going to be the death of us all.
He may be the death of us all, allegedly. No, I'm not going to say allegedly. Even so. Potentially the death of us all. It would, yeah. Donnie, humble guy.
Humble guy.
He's so humble. He was already rich, Ben. That's what makes him humble.
That's it. He's fine. He's fine.
Oh, fuck. I think
so.
That lady wins
We're
this week.
gonna board up Mike's windows now and try and make the flat nuclear apocalypse proof to the point we can. And bid you adieu.
If the world doesn't
we will be broadcasting through the apocalypse.
I was going to say, if the world doesn't end in the next week or so, you've got a fucking, 4 or 5 hour discussion on V for Vendetta.
Hey!
Which is fucking awesome episodes. We got into some really heavy, good, entertaining shit on that. So that's coming up. So let's hope. Let's all pray. Let's
not pray.
I know we don't necessarily believe in thoughts and prayers because they are officially in the reggae box.
They are.
As of the other week. But I'd just say hunker down a bit and just enjoy the stuff you enjoy.
Keep calm and carry on. I think it's the best way to describe it, isn't it? Keep calm and carry on.
Like, if you love your PlayStation, love it a little bit more this week. Or in the next couple of days. Just take stock. Take a moment.
And you know what? Have an extra wank.
That's an order.
Have an extra one.
That's an order.
You never know when them missiles are going to slam into the city next to you.
Fuck, I'm still rocked by the revelation. Yeah, I'm drunk now. If a nuclear bomb landed in Birmingham just up the road, well, quite a way up the road, my windows are going out anyway. Oh god.
There is a thing called a nuke map.
Yeah, there is, yeah. I did Google where is my nearest nuclear bunker as well.
What's the nuke map? Does that just show us? Is it what it sounds like? It shows you where a nuke hits.
Yeah, if a nuke hit near you, what effect would it have?
Whoa.
I think we've got sort of 3 or 4 weeks until the radiation kills us at this rate.
Hey, come on now.
Yeah, but 3 or 4 weeks of the 3 of us and the cat living in Mike's bed, Mike's closet, is going to be tedious.
But it gives me time.
Because we're going to have to play out shows around the clock at that point.
Well, yeah, but 3 weeks
at
gives me...
some point we're going to run out of beer and weed.
That's very true. But 3 weeks gives me time
We're going to eat the cat.
sort of say my goodbyes to my loved ones.
You got a phone signal?
No, I'll go and visit them physically. 3 weeks.
Well, then you got less than 3 weeks then.
I fucking walked for the listener. I want the listener to know how much goes into this podcast. I may not have done any research for this episode this week, but I walked for an hour and a half. Yeah, you heard me. 90 minutes to get here. I'm going to walk 90 minutes back. Pissed as a fart.
and partially stoned. Let's not be. Yeah.
You know,
I've got a taxi home. I feel superior.
it'll be a happy walk.
You got cans with you. You'll be fine.
I'll be absolutely fine. It's all good. So are we having technical difficulties?
They've taken it down.
Oh man!
Now that's a fucking tinfoil hat moment.
Yeah.
The 3D nuke map has been taken down.
There's a picture. Basically, you go onto it.
Yeah.
You say what yield you want to simulate. Put it in, and it'll show you. There's 3 rings. There's the inside, where you're
dead.
You're incinerated immediately.
Yeah.
You got the next ring in it.
So you
die from radiation burns.
Radiation.
And the outer ring is the radiation fallout.
Yeah.
And we would be in this orange outer ring where we're
if
going to
hit
be
Birmingham.
affected by fallout. Basically.
Windows may come through.
They will come through.
Yeah, and within minutes we'll have nuclear fallout ash.
Yeah.
Wow. Fuck.
That's with the.
And you live in Donington now, which is home of one of the. I think it was at one point the second largest logistics base in the country.
So I'm dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Pretty much.
Wow.
But them guys in them bunkers and them tunnels underneath, they're fine. They're fine.
Let's just hope that our dear leaders, and I did say dear leaders intentionally,
in the North Korean
dear
stance.
leaders, and if I have to put up your picture in my living room to avoid burning in the nuclear fires, I will. I'll say a little prayer to you every morning if that's what you need me to do. I will bow down and suck the government cock quite gladly if it means I won't die in a horrific fireball of death.
I am going to go out like I came in.
Kicking and screaming,
and covered in someone else's blood. With a bottle of whiskey in one hand. I didn't come in with a bottle of whiskey, but there's no going out. Bottle of whiskey in one hand, cigar in the other.
Yeah.
Covered in blood, naked on the front lawn, giving the feed to the nuclear finger, to the nuclear fire as it approaches me and blasts my flesh from my skeleton. Sarah Connor style. That's all I'm going on.
Well, to paraphrase our dear friend Dave Lister, you can't punch nuclear war in the face. If he comes near me, I'll rip his nipples off.
You can't nut the smegger to. I'm going to nut the smegger to oblivion. I say we go out there and nut the smegger to oblivion.
Strap a nuclear warhead to my forehead and we'll nut the smegger to oblivion.
Right.
So,
Mike, any final thoughts there? Or?
Final thoughts, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, it isn't good. It is serious now.
It should be pointed out that the West have said that this isn't a regime change strike, it's a punishment for using the chemical weapons. Our point in this episode was to say, who did use the chemical weapons? And if so, why? Hopefully you've listened to this and that we're not geopoliticists, or whatever it is. We're 3 pissheads sat in a room getting high.
Yeah, and it's obvious to us.
Shooting the shit.
And we have, in literally 24 hours, come up with a reasonably compelling case for you to have some kind of doubt as to what you're being told.
That's a lot of doubt.
I'm not going to say it's true, but I'm going to say there's a lot of doubt.
I'd like to say, you're not a fucking internet troll or a tinfoil hat wearer to
or
question,
an anti-Semite.
No, or a racist in any way to question the official narrative. Time and time again they've proved there is precedent. We said that earlier.
Yep.
So
go for Tonkin, Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
Keep questioning.
2 false flags.
Should we sign off?
Yeah. Right.
Let's do it.
Well, I'm going to quote Birdie Woody Piper from They Live.
Okay.
And I'm going to say, don't eat the trash can. In other words, don't believe what you're being told.
Absolutely not. I will say good night and free Biff Tannen, and just hug your loved ones a little closer for the next week or 2.
Yeah. Second that statement. Peace
also,
out.
don't join the cult. Never drink the Flavour Aid.
Hey, good stuff.
Thanks for listening.
Join us next week. We love you.